on its COVID vaccine boosters. Fox's Evan Brown has the update live.
Yeah, Dave, Moderna's preliminary data suggests their COVID-19 vaccine booster dose, that's the third shot, is providing some immunity against the virus's Omicron variant. The company this morning said a low-dose booster raised immunity against Omicron nearly 40 times. But those who took a high-dose booster had more than 80 times as much. The company also says they're working on an Omicron-specific formula that they will test early next year, Dave.
Evan, tomorrow President Biden will address the nation again. He's already warned the unvaccinated of a winter of death ahead. Biden advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci tells NBC's Meet the Press the vaccinated can get COVID too, but
the difference between a vaccinated and boosted person who has an infection and someone who has an infection who's never been vaccinated, a major difference with regard to the risk of severity.
Now, he and the White House are also insisting they were prepared for variants after Vice President Harris said they were not prepared for Omicron. Angry Democrats are saying Senator Joe Manchin betrayed them as Republicans applaud him coming out against the Biden social spending bill, putting it on hold. He told Fox News Sunday,
I have tried everything I know to do, and the president has worked diligently. He's been wonderful to work with. He knows I've had concerns.
But the White House insists Manchin had agreed to a framework.
Well, that framework, which Democrats pushed as a way to expand the social safety net and bolster climate action, came at a cost. $4.5 trillion as determined by the Congressional Budget Office. Manchin said yesterday that his Democratic colleagues were not transparent about the price tag. Meanwhile, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is among those who feel that Manchin could still be swayed and wants to effort passing the president's agenda in the new year.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff and the Senate's Democratic leader Chuck Schumer said this morning they do plan to have votes in January. America's listening to Fox News.
Dell Technologies' end-of-year sale is the perfect time to upgrade tech. Save big on the latest computers featuring Windows 11 Pro that easily automate workflows. Don't forget to shop servers, storage, and top-brand electronics with savings up to 45% and all with free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor to help you transform your digital workspaces with comprehensive end-to-end solutions. Find the right tech for your business needs at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
More than 1 in 3 people will face cancer in their lifetime. Unfortunately, fear can stop you from getting your cancer screening, but it won't stop cancer. Early detection can save your life. Don't wait for symptoms to appear to act. Cancer screening is safe, effective, and accessible for everyone, including free or low-cost screening programs. Go to cancerscreeninfo.com right now for free screening resources and recommendations from the American Cancer Society. Don't wait. Early detection can save your life. Go to cancerscreeninfo.com today. cancerscreeninfo.com.
.939 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. We are expecting a beautiful day today in mid-Missouri. It's going to be sunny. Our high today around 49. It's going to certainly warm up throughout the week. Will definitely be warm coming up around the Christmas Day holiday. Tonight, clear, low near 24. And tomorrow, sunshine with a high of 49 degrees. Right now, it's 27 degrees here in Columbia. It's 26 degrees in Jefferson City. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour. Jefferson City Hospital is still investigating to determine what caused Friday's major communication outage.
A spokesman for Capital Region Medical Center in Jefferson City said it was a service availability blackout that caused the problem starting early Friday. They spotted unusual activity noted in their phone system, and the decision was made to take the network down as a precaution. As of last check, patients were told to call the main number to get a hold of Capital Region, 573-632-5000. John Marsh, 93.9 The Eagle.
John, thanks. We will know by the end of the day who Columbia's next city manager will be. The city council plans a 4 o'clock announcement at City Hall downtown. City spokesperson Sidney Olson says Columbia Mayor Brian Treese and the new city manager will speak at the briefing. It's open to the public, 4 o'clock today. Social distancing is encouraged. The current city manager, John Glasscock, will retire on January the 14th. Columbia's officials say vendors located outside city limits And internet-based vendors have a competitive advantage over Columbia vendors because they don't have to charge the local sales tax. Staff has prepared an ordinance to place a local use tax on the April ballot. That issue will be first read, not voted on, first read at tonight's City Council meeting at 7. If voters approve the proposed April ballot measure, the local use tax will be enacted on purchases from vendors located outside city limits. The staff estimates the use tax would produce revenue equivalent of 9% of sales tax revenue. A proposal to build a new Tacos for Life restaurant on heavily traveled East Green Meadows is now heading to Columbia City Council. The Planning and Zoning Commission has approved the restaurant's plan to build a new 4,200 square feet restaurant. Now, that restaurant would include a drive-through. It would also include a patio along with 4 bicycle spaces, 23 parking spaces. The issue will be first read at tonight's City Council meeting. The developer would pay for any and all public infrastructure extension and expansion under the plan. Some residents are worried about traffic congestion in the area. They testified at a recent P&Z hearing. The new restaurant will be located across from Baskin-Robbins and Dunkin' Donuts. There's also a honey-baked ham in that area. Tacos for Life has restaurants in 6 states. The current Missouri location, the lone one, is in O'Fallon. That's in St. Charles County. Here in Columbia, motorists on heavily traveled I-70 will notice Boone Electric's massive construction project at Range Line and I-70. The cooperative is building the new headquarters for Boone Electric on the 18-acre property. Boone Electric CEO Todd Coley says the project will be done by the summer or early fall.
I think the community is really going to enjoy the new community room, and I say community rooms because there's going to be 3 conjoined there that can open up into one large one.
Coley spoke Saturday on 93.9 The Eagles CEO Roundtable. You can hear his full comments about the project on our website, 939theeagle.com. He says they're close to finishing the vehicle storage building. That would allow Boone Electric to keep its fleet indoors in climate-controlled conditions. Jefferson City's mayor has described the Bicentennial Bridge as a game changer. The bridge links the Capitol complex to Adrian's Island. It is now a reality. Governor Parson, Mayor Turgeon, Lieutenant Governor Kehoe, other dignitaries will cut the ribbon at 1:30 this afternoon. The public is invited. Major donors for the project will be recognized today. The DeLong and the Adrian families will be recognized. Ameren will also be recognized. $4.9 million project. It's a 12-foot wide pedestrian and bicycle bridge connecting the Capitol to the island. That is north of the Union Pacific tracks there in Jefferson City. Ameren will be recognized. They moved all of their electrical infrastructure and relocated poles to support the project. Very busy Monday morning, and our news is brought to you this hour by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning, ensuring the air in which you live and breathe is comfortable and clean. For all of your heating needs, log on to airserve.com. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:07. In sports, we'll start with the NFL. There are actually 2 NFL games today on this Monday. The Raiders are at Cleveland early. That's around a 4 o'clock game today. Minnesota is at Chicago tonight, 7:15, the kick there. Former Mizzou Tiger quarterback Drew Lock, 6 of 12, 88 yards, a touchdown. He came in, played in the Sunday Denver Bengals game. Cincinnati win the game 15-10. Hockey, Winnipeg beat the Blues yesterday in Canada 4-2. Stastny 2 goals for the Jets. That's Paul Stastny, 500th career assist. And in basketball, the Mizzou Tiger men's basketball team 6-5 beat Utah Saturday in Columbia 83-72. Mizzou battling Illinois in the bragging rights game Wednesday in St. Louis. 8 o'clock tip-off Wednesday. Enterprise Center Mizzou women's basketball game battling Southern tonight at Mizzou Arena. Tigers are 9-2. Southern Jaguars are 2-8. Tip-off set for 7 at Mizzou Arena. Brad Trinago will have the call tonight. KTGR FM 100.5 again, 7 o'clock tip. Brad will have your pregame 6:45. Our sports is brought to you by Betts Jewelers. For gifts that last a lifetime, visit Betts in downtown Columbia. Our news time, 6:08. And our weather sponsor this hour is Willett Dental Associates, WillettDentalAssociates.com. 28 degrees.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
And our traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. Roads right now pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. We'll have more team coverage in less than 30 minutes and breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
So when you have these things coming at you the way they are right now, I've always said this, Brett, if I can't go home and explain it to the people of West Virginia, I can't vote for it. And I cannot vote to continue with this piece of legislation. I just can't. I've tried everything humanly possible. I can't get there.
You're done. This is a no.
This is a no on this legislation.
It's comments set political world on fire. Yesterday, Joe Manchin, who this week is the most powerful person in Washington, D.C. It's not Kamala. It's not Joe. This week, it's not Chief Justice John Roberts. It's not Elizabeth McDonough. Does anybody know why Elizabeth McDonough, from time to time, has been the most powerful person in Washington, D.C.?
Yes. I do not know.
Very nice.
She's a parliamentarian, which is a really cool job, I guess. But she keeps telling them, no, you cannot put your immigration legislation in the Build Back Better plan. But at this point, I guess it doesn't matter because Joe Manchin is saying no.
Man, what a baller move yesterday. I will say this, though, and I want to highlight some audio that had the political world on fire prior to that, something that had happened on Friday night, and this is so weird, it's almost eerie. His name actually came up in an exchange on an interview on a late-night comedian show Friday night. His name came up as being kind of, the obstructionist or whatever. I want to go back to the end part of his comment here. He's chatting with Fox's Brett Baer.
I've tried everything humanly possible. I can't get there.
You're done. This is a no.
This is a no.
He doesn't sound real confident in that. It sounds to me like, crap, I'm on national TV and I've been cornered. I better give him the right answer, but I know I'm going to face backlash, and obviously he is. He's getting it hard from just about everybody.
Yeah, well, and especially the progressives who are really hopeful. I guess Bernie Sanders told him let him vote no in front of the whole world, which I think he's prepared to do. But whether or not they'll actually force this to a vote, I think because they know they don't have the votes is yet to be seen.
Ilhan Omar.
I mean, we all knew that Senator Manchin couldn't be trusted. The excuses that he just made, I think, are complete bullshit. It is really disheartening.
Right? Ilhan Omar.
She had that really awkward laugh, like the Kamala laugh at the beginning. It was like, did you hear that?
Yeah. She's like, oh, how do I cover this one here? She, too, feeling pretty awkward about the whole thing, as I'm guessing a whole lot of folks, especially the progressives, all feeling some odd stuff yesterday.
Well, and it was such a personal attack. Like, he can't be trusted, and then using cuss words. Like, it's not just like, well, we disagree on the issues. It's, again, these, He can't be trusted. He's a horrible person.
He's bad. He's a bad guy. We'll name call. That's what we'll do. So prior to Manchin going on Fox yesterday and saying, yeah, I can't support it. Obviously, 50-50 Senate. Every single vote is important, and then some. So with Manchin saying, no, I can't do this. Like, this is Biden's thing. This is, I guess, what he was going to hang his hat on. One of the things that he was going to try to hang his hat on.
Because he doesn't have anything else.
There's no coat rack anymore, Joe. There's nothing. By the way, he's trying to help his image a little bit. Somebody there at the White House saying, now, Joe, why don't you try this? Try being hip and cool. It worked.
There is nothing less cool than an older person trying to be, quote, hip.
You want to hear it?
Yeah, I do.
No.
Poor Joe.
Well,
So he's being interviewed at a radio TV station in Baltimore or something, and being asked about the whole the virus and the whole thing with mandates and all that.
Well, you hear a lot from my home state as well as yours and other states saying, "Well, I have my freedom. I have a right to not get vaccinated."
I have my freedom. Joe trying to be cool and make fun of us. He's saying, I have my freedom.
I have my freedom.
I have my freedom.
He's trying to be hip, saying, I have my freedom.
I'm not following.
I think,
Hannah, I don't think Joe understood the assignment.
He did not.
He didn't. He's
Neither did Branden. Doesn't get that joke either.
I have my freedom. I have a right to not.
And he thinks that all of us that support being an American, and i.e. not supporting a mandate to put something into your body that's been on the market for a year now. So he's trying to make fun of us people that believe in the idea of Americanism.
I have my freedom.
I have my freedom. And we all talk like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the entire show this morning, we're just going to talk like that here on Wake Up Columbia.
I will turn off your microphone.
There's Stephanie Bell.
Good morning.
Good morning, Stephanie. How you doing? Doing all right over there?
I have my freedom.
Brian Hauswirth, you got your freedom this morning?
Good morning, Branden.
Good morning. Hannah, the producer, how are you?
I'm better now that the accent's gone.
Congratulations on graduating this weekend.
Thank you.
Hannah, the grad. My name is Branden Rathert, and I believe in American ideas.
I have my freedom.
I got my freedoms.
I'm about to turn your mic off, dude.
According to Joe. I got my freedoms because all of us talk like that. Okay, so Manchin going on Fox yesterday and telling Bret Baier, I just can't do it, which brings up a whole lot of other interesting things. So does he sleep well at night? Did he sleep okay last night? That's what I'm wondering, because here's what he's done in effect. Joe Manchin, Democrat, Senator, West Virginia. He's upset a whole bunch of people in his party. So does he sleep well knowing, hey, I think I've done the right thing for my constituents. It was my constituents that voted me here. It wasn't the Democrat Party. So he sleeps well knowing that, hey, I couldn't get my head around this. I have to say I am a no vote. Meanwhile, potentially torching his entire relationship with the Democrats, i.e. money and the party and everything that goes with it. Which is a greater conflict, I'm wondering. I'm trying to think. I do something, I think, well, I'm doing this because morally I feel like it's the right thing to do, but I'm hurting everybody on my team. Like if I were to make a decision that would have an impact on you guys, but I think, but I'm doing the right thing, what I think is right. That's pretty hefty personal, I would think, that you've got to struggle with, which is, the better thing here.
And keep in mind, West Virginia is a very Republican state. Used to be Democratic years ago, but very Republican, and he's one of the few Democrats that wins there. So be interesting to see what kind of feedback he gets in his home state. That's what the national media never mentions. What do the people back home say? They keep talking about people around the country. What are people in West Virginia saying? And I haven't heard that angle yet.
And that's one of the things we are going to be doing this morning. We're going to see what they're saying in some of these West Virginia news outlets. What is the news saying in his state, where he's from? What do those people think? And hopefully they'll have an opportunity to actually talk to some people that voted for him. And as the Democrats are telling it this morning, they would, Jen Psaki, which I thought was kind of odd. She's going out. I get it. She's the White House spokesperson. It struck me odd. She went out and tweeted about this and had a couple of very detailed tweets, which in effect slammed Joe Manchin. Of course, he dealt a major blow to the social spending bill by announcing yesterday on Fox News that he can't do it. Psaki has accused Manchin of going back on his discussions with Biden about the bill, and his comments are at odds with his discussions. So in seeing what all the Democrats are saying, apparently they just really felt like, hey, Joe gave us his word. Joe Manchin, that Joe gave us his word that he was in favor of this. And they're all shocked this morning. Shocked. But he said, no, man, I can't vote for this. 874-9390, 874-9390. David, welcome into the show. What can we do for you this morning?
Hey, on the Joe Manchin thing, God bless him. The guy, he bleeds red, white, and blue like most of us. And the best Christmas present, early Christmas present we've gotten so far come from a Democrat. And the least we can do is return the favor and send thank you cards to this gentleman and tell him, you know what, he's one guy that is keeping us from being Venezuela. And that's what, us independent conservatives out here, that's what we can do, help that guy out. We don't always think like him, but you know what, at least he's thinking like us right now.
And we need to let him know. As a matter of fact, here's a phone number if you want to get one of his offices that's in West Virginia. David, if you have a pen, you can jot this down, or later you can go back, check out the podcast on 939theeagle.com. But you could call his office in Charleston, West Virginia. Here's the phone number, 304-342 5855. So that's 304-342-5855. You can call Joe Manchin's office, leave a quick message. Hey, please tell Joe that we appreciate, even here in Missouri, we appreciate what he did.
And I also think we need to flood him with thank you cards as well. Just flood his office. Tell him we appreciate, America appreciates him.
All right, we can do that too. David, great ideas. Thank you for the phone call. If you wanted to mail a card to that office in Charleston, West Virginia for Joe Manchin, you can mail it to 900 Pennsylvania Avenue, Suite 629, Charleston, West Virginia, 25302. And if you want those, let me know. I can make sure you get those. Coming up, Daily DC Rundown with Stephanie Powell. What do you have for us today?
So with Build Back Better blowing up, Democrats are going to try to pivot. What are they going to pivot to?
I'm anxious to see that. It's coming up, Daily DC Rundown at 625 on 93.9, The Eagle at 90.
Opinions on social issues. We throw those around too. Wake Up Columbia. 93.9 The Eagle.
Right now, it does, for all the world, look dead in the water. Now, there have been so many times that I thought that they couldn't get something done, and then they did. But Senator Manchin left yesterday, I thought was absolutely clear, and he's been clear for months.
So Republican Representative Michael Burgess from Texas reminding folks this morning in the Daily D.C. Rundown, because all these Democrats, as we were saying just a few minutes ago, the way they're reacting seem to think that Manchin had told them, yes, I will vote in favor of this. And the representative there from Texas reminding folks, no, remember, Manchin's name has been in the news for a couple of months on this, saying, I can't support it, and I guess to an extent making it semi-official yesterday.
Yeah, he announced on Fox News Sunday that he's a no on the bill. And yeah, like you said, AOC said we knew he would do this. He is a man of his word. So, is that a knock? I mean, I don't know why it's coming as a surprise. He even highlighted portions of the bill that he said, I just can't get on board. And one of those was the one that brought the progressives onto the bill, which was the expanded child tax credit. And he was just like, no, it's too much money. I can't do that. They refused to pull it out. And he said, you know what? I can't vote for this. So whether or not Democrats, just to save face, will, pull out smaller pieces of this bill and try to pass it just so they can get a win, that's still kind of up in the air. Some folks are saying that they want to bring the Senate back in and force a vote and force him to vote no. But that part has yet to be worked out.
And as Darren points out via text 874-9390, we had a caller, hey, we should call Joe Manchin's office. We should send him thank you cards. We have those phone numbers and addresses if you're interested for you this morning. We can get you those. Darren text, hey, now, don't underestimate a Republican's ability to come in and save the day for the Democrats.
Oh, that took my breath away a little bit, because it could happen. And it kind of... it makes me feel like that's probably how Democrats are feeling right now. Like, I would think, traitor, gosh, why would they do that? And that's probably, what they're feeling right now. So they need to win. So now they're looking, if we can't get this bill back better, what do we do? Now, that federal voting rights law has been kind of hanging out now for months and months. They haven't been able to get anywhere on it, but our friend Stacey Abrams is saying, watch out for those state legislatures. Those states don't know what they're doing. We can't let them do what Georgia did. So we need to bring this federal voting rights legislation back, to the forefront and pass something before these state legislatures get out of control and, do something like election integrity. So
election integrity, or as the far left and the progressives like to call it, it's voter suppression. Voter suppression. That's how they sell it. As a matter of fact, that's how they've been selling this thing with Joe Manchin's statements yesterday on Fox. Joe Manchin, he doesn't want extra child care. He doesn't want health care for all these extra people. That's the way they're pushing it. And the folks who know better and intelligent folks are saying, it's just too much. Oh, yeah, if we had money, create health care for all these kids, great. We don't have that kind of money.
Yeah, and we don't want to pay for it forever. And as far as the election integrity measures go, I mean, what states are seeing is there are more people voting now. I mean, the percentage of people voting is so high. If this legislation was suppressing the vote, you would see those numbers coming down. But more people than ever are voting.
Jeez. I want to get to this audio, too. Maybe we get to it at 6:50. So before Joe Manchin blew up the political world yesterday, Kamala and a dude by the name of Charlemagne the God blew it up on Friday night. What happened there? We'll have that coming up for you at 6:50. Fox is here. They'll continue to monitor fallout for the entire Democratic Party after Manchin's baller move yesterday. Then Brian Hauswirth is here. What we know so far, so we know in Columbia today there's going to be an announcement about the new city manager. Current city manager John Glasscock retiring. He's out in the middle of January. So Brian Hauswirth will have more on that. And then we're going to meet this guy coming up 6:35. Keegan Hartman had a Mizzou jersey stolen from him. The thing was, why that jersey was so important to him? Got it through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. His story. Keegan joins us at 6:35. I have your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast. Sunny today, high near 50. Right now it's 28. 4 out of 10 people are scared of the dentist. Willett Dental Associates practices conscious sedation dentistry.
Majority Leader Chuck Schumer writes in a letter to Senate Democrats, there will be a vote on a revised version of President Biden's Build Back Better agenda early in the new year. West Virginia Democrat Joe Manchin says he's a no on what's there now.
On Fox News Sunday, Manchin said after trying everything humanly possible, he can't support the bill.
We've got COVID at us. We haven't tackled that one and finished that. We've got inflation, which we don't know when it's going to end.
Manchin, in a statement, said the provisions could leave the country more vulnerable to threats.
Fox's Gernal Scott. The drug maker Moderna says a low-dose booster shot of its coronavirus vaccine provides protection against the new Omicron variant, a higher dose even more so. National Institutes of Health Director Dr. Francis Collins tells Fox News Sunday.
All of the other previous variants pale by comparison in terms of the rate at which this one is spreading.
America's listening to Fox News.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. We're expecting a beautiful day today. Sunshine with a high of 49. Clear skies tonight with the overnight low down to 24. Right now, 28 here. In Columbia, it's 26 degrees in Jefferson City. Good morning, everyone. Here are some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour at 6:31. Missouri's governor will continue to focus on his two main themes during the 2022 legislative session. Governor Mike Parson tells 93.9 The Eagle that Missouri ranks in the top 10 in both manufacturing and apprenticeships.
You know, I think we know workforce development. We know infrastructure works now. We're seeing that compared to all the other states in the United States. How well we've done in this state.
Governor will also focus on broadband in 2022. He plans to meet with state leaders this week in Jefferson City to prepare for the upcoming session. Today, he will meet with all of the female state senators in the Missouri Senate, Democrat and Republican. The governor will be outlining his specific legislative priorities in his January State of the State address. Meantime, contractors will begin removing and replacing ADA ramps at intersections along Columbia's Worley Street today between Pershing and North Providence. Motorists urged to slow down in the work zone. Columbia Public Works spokesperson John Ogun tells the Eagle that the project's total cost is $209,000. That cost includes some ramps east of Providence. Columbia's next city manager is expected to be introduced late this afternoon at City Hall. City spokesperson Sidney Olson tells the Eagle that Columbia Mayor Brian Treese and the new city manager will brief reporters in the community at 4 o'clock today. The public is invited. While some residents are worried about traffic congestion, Columbia staff and P&Z are recommending approval of a new restaurant on East Green Meadows. It's near Dunkin' Donuts. Tacos for Life wants to build the new restaurant. That would include a covered patio and 23 parking spaces. It's near something called Macadoodles, which is off of Providence. The issue will be first read at tonight's Columbia City Council meeting. Won't be voted on until the next meeting in January. And it's been talked about in Jefferson City for more than 30 years. It becomes a reality today. Governor Parson, Mayor Turgeon, other dignitaries cutting the ribbon for the $4.9 million Bicentennial Bridge at 1:30 today. The project will link the Missouri Capitol to the riverfront, specifically Adrian's Island. And you're invited to today's event, again, 1:30, just outside the Capitol at the Adrian's Island in the bridge location. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you on this Monday morning by the Candy Factory. The Candy Factory is in downtown Columbia. Our news time is it is 6:33. Turning our attention now to Sports 633 here on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com. Former Mizzou Tiger quarterback Drew Lock, 6 of 12, 88 yards. He had a touchdown coming in and playing in Sunday's Denver Bengals game. Cincinnati winning the game 15-10. There's actually two games on Monday today. One is an afternoon game, the other in the evening. The evening game tonight is Minnesota and Chicago. College basketball, the Missouri Tiger men's basketball team now 6-5. Very impressive win over Utah Saturday in Columbia. 11 lead changes, 21 ties in this game. Kobe Brown leading Mizzou with 27 points. Mizzou and Illinois, the bragging rights game Wednesday in St. Louis. That game will tip off at 8 at the Enterprise Center. It's a late start. Big Ten Network. Keep that in mind if you're trying to find on TV. Big Ten Network on Wednesday night because Illinois is the opponent. Mizzou women's basketball battling hosting Southern tonight at Mizzou Arena. Southern is 2-8. Tip-off 7 o'clock Mizzou Arena, and that game will be heard at 6:45 on KTGR 100.5. Brad Trinago on the call. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:35.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
And our traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. MidmoHires.com. Find a job or to post your job opening today. Roads are pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, give us a call or a text, 573-874-9390. We'll have more team coverage in less than 30 minutes. We have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle. Morning, Steph.
We'll touch base on this in the new year. Let's park that until January. We'll circle back after the holidays. Let's push that until next year. We'll put a pin in that and revisit in 2022. See you next year.
If you like to procrastinate like me, this has got to be your favorite time of the year. Yeah, let's revisit this after the holidays. Let's circle back after the holidays. Yeah, let's do that. But after Christmas. Okay, but let's wait until January. Let's wait. And for somebody who procrastinates to the point that it's a problem sometimes, I love this time of year.
Yeah, and so many people are on vacation. You can just be like, well, we got to wait till they get back. And, we got the holidays.
Hardly any emails are coming through. I'm loving this. I love showing up on a Monday morning here at the radio station. I only got like 8 emails. Usually you have like 1,000 that come in over the weekend. Nobody's calling you on your phone. Not that I answer my office phone anyway. By the way, I have an update to the whole John Schneider thing.
Ooh.
Remember John Schneider? Brian, you remember who John Schneider was?
Dukes of Hazzard.
He was the blonde. He was the handsome cousin on the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yes, I do remember him. Yes.
You mean the one that you didn't answer his voicemail for like a month? That guy?
Yeah. So he called and says, "Hey, I'm going to be in Missouri," and everybody says, "I got to be on your show." Which is great, but I didn't go through the voicemails until like a month after he left it. So now I'm calling his guy. I'm like, "Hey, we want to get John Schneider on. Sorry, I know we're past his visit here in Missouri." And he's like, "Well, John's busy today. Can I get you Melissa Joan Hart?"
Yes. Which would have been awesome.
Yes, It would have been.
Do you know who Melissa Joan Hart is?
I know the name. I'm drawing a blank. But Schneider's, that would have been awesome to have him on.
Yeah, and thanks for reminding me.
No, Melissa Hart is Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Okay. And Clarissa explains it all.
Yeah, I just know the name. I don't recognize that either.
The old geezers.
Or dudes. We don't watch chick stuff like Sabrina the Teenaged Witch.
Dukes of Hazzard was a really big deal.
That's the kind of childish stuff we watched, Hannah. It wasn't Sabrina the Teenage Witch. It was the Dukes of Hazzard on Friday night.
Yes, because that is so superior to what Steph and I are talking
about.
The
intellect of Bo and Luke Duke. These guys, not only were they handsome, and they could drive the heck out of a car, but they were incredibly intelligent. Very insightful take on the current political strife when their show was on in the late 70s and early 80s.
And I'm sure it had nothing to do with Daisy Duke, right?
I would say no. They actually had a reunion, a lot of the Dukes of Hazzard folks, when I worked in Moberly in 2010. Now, John Schneider was not there, but a lot of them did come, and I actually covered it, and the event got cut short because a tornado came through North Missouri. But one of them, his brother, Ben, I may have this name wrong, Ben Jones, his brother was a congressman from down in Georgia. He played Cooter. He was there.
Yeah.
Sonny Schroyer was there.
And Catherine Bach, who played Daisy Duke, she was there.
Catherine Bach was mentioned, but she was not there.
She wasn't
not
there.
No, but it was a big deal. But a lot of people wanted to see John Schneider.
With Daisy Duke, and I was an anomaly, and I'm serious when I say this. When I was a kid growing up, like everybody had posters of the Charlie's Angels in the rooms and Daisy Duke and all that stuff. And I didn't have those kind of posters in my room. Like the thing with the Charlie Angels and Daisy Duke, it didn't do anything for me. Welcome into the show. Wake Up Columbia, Stephanie Bell, Brian Hauswirth, who I never thought I would hear use the word cooter here on the show, but did it 2 minutes ago, is here. There is Hannah, the producer.
Good morning.
My name is Branden Rathert. I want to introduce you to this really neat young man. His name is Keegan Hartman, and I got to know him. Had heard apparently somebody stole his Mizzou jersey, and this jersey has a lot of special meaning to him. But we want to welcome him into the show. Keegan Hartman, welcome in, buddy. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. Just actually preparing right now. I'm sitting here looking over some notes. I'm going down to Fort Worth, Texas for the bowl game. I'm going to be calling it with KCOU, so I'm just kind of going over some game notes early in the morning. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good.
Well, good. We're excited for you. We're excited for the bowl game coming up on Wednesday. Let me ask you this, because I think this is a fair question, Hauswirth. So we've got the bowl game Wednesday. We've also got the bragging rights game, and there's going to be some overlap. About how much do you figure, roughly?
Well, it depends on what time the kick is, because they never start at 7. I'd say closer to 7:10, and if they say 8 o'clock on the basketball game, it's probably going to be 8:05. Ballpark about an hour.
So there's got to be some overlap. Let me ask you this, Keegan. Let's say you weren't calling Mizzou football. Let's say like you were at home watching TV. Which are you watching? Are you watching the bowl game or are you watching the bragging rights game?
That is a difficult one.
All right, well then let's come back to that, because I want to start. So you're from the Springfield area, from what I can gather. You're a student up here. You're doing a whole bunch of stuff at Mizzou with journalism and all that stuff. You go out of town Thanksgiving weekend. You come home. Tell us what happened when you got home.
Yeah, so I'm a little about an hour situated south. I'm in Joplin, but it's about a 3.5-hour drive away. I was home for the entire duration of Thanksgiving break, and then I got a call the Monday after Thanksgiving break from my roommate, and he had told me that he kind of felt something was off. His keys that he had that were situated on our kitchen table, typically he always leaves them in that area or in that vicinity. He had told me that they were not in the place that he had recalled putting them. And, typically I'm just like, when he told me that, I was like, no, well, that's just, you could have misplaced them, whatever. Sure. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I'm listening. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So he continues on. He goes, well, he made his way down to our basement. And I should say I'm over in the townhomes area, the Element townhomes. These are three-story complexes. So you have a basement, a middle floor, and an upper floor. And he lives on the upper floor. I live in the basement. My unit is in the basement. And anyway, he said when he went down to the basement, he had found that some of our LED lights that we had put up on the wall had been stripped down. Some frames had been removed from the wall on the coffee table in the center of the basement. Looked like it had been sifted through.
So you guys noticed that something was wrong. Somebody had been through your stuff. You guys kind of take inventory. Oh crap! Some stuff is missing, including one of your prized possessions, a game-worn Mizzou football jersey. And I want to ask you, by the way, Keegan Hartman is our guest this morning, college student here at Mizzou, lives in Joplin, was gone for Thanksgiving weekend, comes home, realizes some of his stuff had been ripped off, but especially this Mizzou football jersey. Why was this so special to you, this jersey that was stolen from you?
Yeah, so in my senior year of high school, I had received a Make-A-Wish. I have a rare condition. It's a primary immunodeficiency, not to be mistaken with auto. I have a low percentage of white blood cells, so I'm highly susceptible to illness, essentially. And, it classified as, a life-threatening disorder, and it met the criterion for a Make-A-Wish. And long story short, one of my wishes was to go out to Beaverton, Oregon, to meet the designers for the U.S. Nike football design team, who specialize in, NCAA football, and then the NFL. They work with them, work hands-on. They do all the designs. Met a lot of the designers out there, and including this former CEO of Nike, Mark Parker. Actually, I got to meet him as well. But one of the gifts, they were super sweet and generous and very hospitable. One of the gifts that they had actually given me was an authentic in-game jersey with my name on the back. It's got Hartman on the back. The number was 18 for my graduation year. And that was one of the first items that I had noticed that was gone.
So that got to you. You got that through the Make-A-Wish Foundation because you have this incredibly rare health disorder, Make-A-Wish Foundation, they hook you up, and you notice this is one of the things that's missing, this Mizzou game-worn jersey. The folks at Nike had even doctored it up a little bit. They put your name on it. You got to go and meet some folks through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and now your jersey's gone. And I want to ask, with the police, because here's the thing, and I'm not trying to knock the local police, but they get busy with a lot of other things. Did you feel like it was kind of like, man, this means a lot to me, but for police, they're coming in, they're just taking another crime report. This stuff was stolen, and, oftentimes these things don't come back to you. Was there some of that, Keegan?
Yeah, I just felt like it was, you had to go through that and, file the report and all that. And I knew something. Yeah. I mean, likely nothing was going to come of it, and it hasn't yet.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, Keegan, if I could follow up on Branden, two very quick questions. One, has the Columbia Police Department followed up with you about any suspects, any leads, any surveillance video? In two, you mentioned to Branden the game-worn Mizzou jersey. The folks at Nike also got you a game-worn LeBron James warm-up jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard anything at all? I know it's been in the press. Have you heard anything at all from either the folks at Mizzou or anyone at Nike about trying to get you another, any other apparel? Have you heard anything?
I haven't, and I didn't want to be really, selfish as far as getting any of that stuff back. I know that they've got agendas and whatnot, but it's not really a priority. It's a life lesson, if anything. I mean, you got to have renter's insurance, but at the same time, those are both sentimental.
Did you? Did you have?
No, I did not.
And that's not. It's not your fault, man. Don't. It's not your fault at all. So, I'm just wondering, is there anything that we can do to help here on Wake Up Columbia 93.9 The Eagle? I'm guessing, is it mostly wanting to get the word out? Is there like a GoFundMe page? Here's the deal. Keegan Hartman, through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, because he has an incredibly rare condition, able to get a game-worn Mizzou jersey. Somebody burglarized his place over Thanksgiving holiday, and now it's gone. Would like to have it back. Any social media sites, anything we can do to help you this morning, Keegan?
Yeah, so actually my aunt and uncle, they put together a Make-A-Wish, they put together a GoFundMe page, and so I can send you the link on that, or whatever information I can relay to you. I'm sure that you could probably get that out.
Go ahead and tell us real quick. Just go ahead and tell us, and send it. But go ahead and tell us while we have you before we let you go here, Keegan.
Were you wanting the link on that, or I'm sorry?
The easiest way that we can find info about your story to help out on the donation page.
So if you wanted to go over, the only thing I could think of is probably would be under my Facebook. If you guys wanted to find me,
Keegan Hartman, Keegan Hartman, Hartman. Keegan Hartman. You go to his Facebook page and see his story. Young man from Joplin, goes to school here at Mizzou. Thanksgiving weekend, somebody steals a lot of stuff from him, including a game-worn warm-up suit from LeBron James, Mizzou game-worn jersey that he got through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, trying to find that stuff. Keegan, keep us posted and let us know how it goes, okay?
For sure. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us, man.
Thanks, Keegan.
I get so upset about that kind of stuff, man.
It's just, that is horrible. And I'm on his page right now. They've raised $190 for a $1,000 goal. It breaks your heart to hear that people would do that. And then what he didn't mention in there, they also, whoever did this, stole all the shoes and clothes. Now, keep in mind, this is a college student with a life-threatening illness. It just is terrible.
And he also deals with something, and I get, because you even heard him say, he's like, I don't want to talk about myself too much, try to be humble, I don't want to, but he also has another a genetic disorder or something that makes him look super young.
Wow.
And so he's dealing with a couple of different things. He's like, the LeBron James thing, I just really want that Mizzou jersey. Keegan Hartman is the kid, this college student. Let's not let him leave Columbia with that kind of taste in his mouth. Columbia, maybe somebody. And Who knows? Maybe criminals listen to Wake Up Columbia. Maybe these thieves are listening and they didn't know. They just stole a game jersey. They didn't know the story behind it. It was Make-A-Wish. If you guys just get it back, no questions asked. That's just me. I ain't law enforcement. Law enforcement might want to ask you some questions, but I don't have any questions for you. Just turn that stuff back. Coming up, your dope bench of the day. Dumb people in the news doing dumb things.
The talk show for awesome folks like you. Wake Up Columbia, 93.9 The Eagle.
And you have two Democrats who, in my view, are kind of acting like Republicans.
Uncle Bernie. I like the way he said, and they're acting like Republicans. Like you're scolding a 5-year-old. Quit acting like a heathen. They're acting like Republicans. Like it's a bad thing. That obviously some of the fallout after Joe Manchin today, the most powerful guy in Washington, D.C., after he said yesterday on Fox. And I guess a lot of people didn't know this was coming. And based on the way that Joe Manchin said this, I'm not sure, because everybody's like, oh my God, did you hear what Joe Manchin said on Fox yesterday? But I'm wondering, it wasn't just what he said. I think it was how he said it. To me, in my mind, he just doesn't sound like he was ready to make this announcement.
So when you have these things coming at you the way they are right now, I've always said this, Brett, if I can't go home and explain it to the people of West Virginia, I can't vote for it. And I cannot vote to continue with this piece of legislation. I just can't. I've tried everything humanly possible. I can't get there.
You're done. This is a no.
1, 2, 3.
This is a no on this legislation.
So that was a 3-second pause.
This is a no.
And he doesn't sound super confident. Here's what I think. Here's my little conspiracy theory. And remind me of the one about gas prices, too. All right? Here's what I think. I think he said that, and he didn't mean to. He didn't know that he was going to go on Brett Baer on Fox yesterday and go, yeah, I'm going to vote against this. I don't know if he was prepared to do that. Maybe got painted in a corner. But he had been saying it for quite some time because a lot of the Democrats say, we just can't believe he did this. And folks have been saying, he's been telling us this for several months now, man. Don't act surprised.
It's time for the Doment of the Day with Branden Rathert on 93.9 The Eagle.
Your Doment of the Day, dumb people in the news doing dumb things, and sometimes just some interesting stories like this. The great candy cane crisis of 2021. Peppermint crops and logistical issues apparently caused a shortage of candy canes. Folks complain. Who eats these things anyway? Aren't they just it's decorational food? It's not meant to be eaten, is it?
No.
Candy cane. It's decorational food. You ain't supposed to be eating them anyway. I'm Branden Rathert for Salter Lawn Service. Salter, one call does it all. So now we're back into more seasonal temps, but I can tell you this, by the time we get to like Christmas Eve this week, it might be up to 70 degrees on a Friday, but snow is coming. It happens almost every year. Are you prepared with your snowblower, with your plow, and all that stuff? If you're not, the folks at Salter Lawn Service, they can help you get prepared. For example, you got a riding mower that you'd like to put a plow on, or a truck or whatever. I don't know if you know this or not, but Salter installs that kind of stuff. You can get a plow. They will install it for you at Salter Lawn Service. Or if you just need some things maintained, I don't know, like, your all the bearings, get them oiled and the belts tightened and all that good stuff. They can do that stuff because it's those things like that we don't think about. But Salter Lawn Service, they're always thinking about that kind of stuff. So check them out online. Go to Salter. Salter, one call does it all.
Democrats are angry. Republicans couldn't be happier. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
I'd say that Joe Manchin has helped deliver an early Christmas present to the American people.
Republicans like Senator Tom Cotton applauding the Democrat for coming out against the Biden social spending plan. Senator Manchin told Brett Baier on Fox News Sunday,
I've tried everything humanly possible. I can't get there.
You're done. This is a no.
This is a no on this legislation.
Some Democrats say they feel betrayed. Senator Bernie Sanders tells CNN State of the Union he wants a public vote on the nearly $2 trillion bill.
Let Mr. Manchin explain to the people of West Virginia why he doesn't have the guts to stand up to powerful special interests.
Well, this morning, the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says he plans votes until they do get something done. COVID cases hit a 3-month high last week, 913,000 across America, and Omicron could lead to a surge soon. National Institutes of Health Director Dr. Francis Collins tells Fox News Sunday the variant's
a difficult one for us to cope with because it is so contagious.
Moderna says its boosters show a big increase in antibodies to help fend off Omicron. Israel is banning travel to and from the U.S., Canada too, and several other countries as the variant also spreads in Europe. Fox's Simon Owens live in London.
And Dave, the Netherlands is back in a strict coronavirus lockdown in a move its government calls unavoidable. Authorities say hospitals risk being overwhelmed. Here in Britain, Deputy Prime Minister Dominic Raab says he can't rule out tighter social restrictions before Christmas. He said it's unclear for now if Omicron is more deadly.
That's, if you like, the missing piece of the data puzzle, but we constantly keep it under review.
Meanwhile, in Ireland, hospitality venues are under an 8 p.m. curfew. Dave?
Simon, prosecutors at The Hague in the Netherlands are starting to make their case today at the trial of 3 Russians and a Ukrainian accused of downing a Malaysian Airlines flight in 2014. It blew up in the sky, killing all 298 people on board. America's listening to Fox News.
Dell Technologies' end-of-year sale is the perfect time to upgrade tech. Save big on the latest computers featuring Windows 11 Pro that easily automate workflows. Don't forget to shop servers, storage, and top-brand electronics with savings up to 45% and all with free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor to help you transform your digital workspaces with comprehensive end-to-end solutions. Find the right tech for your business needs at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
More than 1 in 3 people will face cancer in their lifetime. Unfortunately, fear can stop you from getting cancer screening, but it won't stop cancer. Early detection can save your life. Don't wait for symptoms to appear to act. Cancer screening is safe, effective, and accessible for everyone, including free or low-cost screening programs. Go to CancerScreenQuiz.com now and take the American Cancer Society's 2-minute cancer screening quiz to find out what screening tests are right for you. Don't wait. Take the quiz. Get screened. Go to CancerScreenQuiz.com now. CancerScreenQuiz.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 7:03. We're expecting a high today of around 49 degrees. We'll have sunshine in mid-Missouri. Clear tonight with a low near 24. And tomorrow, a little bit warmer, sunny with a high of around 50 degrees. Right now, 28 here in Columbia, 27 in Jefferson City. Good morning, everyone. On this Monday morning, a Jefferson City hospital still working to determine what caused Friday's major communication outage. That is Capital Region Medical Center in Jefferson City. Our colleague John Marsh at KWS is reporting that if you need to reach the hospital, you're urged to call the main number as opposed to the other numbers that have had some issues with them. We'll have another update from John coming your way at the bottom of the hour. Meantime, Jefferson City's mayor describes the Bicentennial Bridge project as a game changer.
Missouri Governor Mike Parson, Jefferson City Mayor Carrie Turgeon, and other dignitaries will cut the ribbon for the $4.9 million Bicentennial Bridge at 1:30 p.m. The project will link the Missouri capital to the riverfront, specifically Adrian's Island. 400,000 people visit the capital each year. Today's event is open to the public. Don Luzader, 93.9 The Eagle.
Don, thanks. We'll know who Columbia's next city manager is by the end of today. The Columbia City Council will have a 4 o'clock announcement at City Hall downtown. City spokesperson Sidney Olson tells 93.9 The Eagle that Columbia Mayor Brian Treese and the new city manager will both be speaking at that briefing, which will take place again at 4 o'clock today. Social distancing and masks are encouraged at City Hall. The current city manager, John Glasscock, will retire on January the 14th. Columbia officials say vendors outside city limits and internet-based vendors have a competitive advantage over Columbia vendors because they don't have to charge the local sales tax. Staff has prepared an ordinance to place on the local use tax issue on the April ballot. It will be first read, not voted on first read at tonight's City Council meeting at 7 o'clock. A proposal to build a new Tacos for Life restaurant on heavily traveled East Green Meadows is now heading to Columbia City Council. The Planning and Zoning Commission has approved the restaurant's plan to build a new 4,200 square feet restaurant. It includes a drive-through, a covered patio, 4 bicycle spaces. The issue will be first read at the council meeting tonight. Some residents have been worried about current traffic congestion in that area. They testified at a recent P&Z hearing. The new restaurant will be located across from Baskin-Robbins and a Dunkin' Donuts. It is also near a honey-baked ham. Tacos for Life has restaurants in 6 states. The lone current location in Missouri is in O'Fallon. Motorists on heavily traveled I-70 in Columbia will notice Boone Electric's massive construction project. It's happening at Range Line and I-70. The co-op is building their new headquarters on the 18-acre property. Boone Electric CEO Todd Culley says the project will be done by the summer or early fall.
I think the community is really going to enjoy the new community room, and I say community rooms because there's going to be 3 conjoined there that can open up into one large one.
Culley spoke Saturday on 93.9 The Eagles CEO Roundtable. You can hear his full comments about the project on our website, 939theeagle.com. Mr. Culley says they're close to finishing the vehicle storage building that would allow Boone Electric to keep its fleet indoors in climate-controlled conditions. And broadband will be a key major policy emphasis for Missouri's governor in 2022. Governor Mike Parson tells the Eagle he also plans to focus on his core themes of infrastructure and workforce development. The State Broadband Office Development Director testified this year there are at least 392,000 Missourians who lack high-speed internet, either because it's not available or they can't afford it. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you on this Monday morning by the Candy Factory. The Candy Factory gets you set up with a delicious chocolate gift to show your appreciation. This holiday season, stop by Candy Factory, downtown Columbia. 93.9 The Eagle News time, 7:07. In sports here on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com, we'll start with hockey. Winnipeg beating the Blues 4-2 on Sunday in Canada. Paul Stastny with 2 goals for the Jets, his 500th career assist. St. Louis back on the road north of the border tomorrow night. Ottawa, the opponent. The Sioux Tiger men's basketball team now 6-5. They beat Utah Saturday in Columbia 83-72. Kobe Brown led Mizzou 27 points, 11 of 13 on free throws. Mizzou battling Illinois. The bragging rights game Wednesday in St. Louis. That game will tip at 8 o'clock at the Enterprise Center. For television coverage, that will be on the Big Ten Network. Don't forget that because Illinois is the opponent. Mizzou women's, they battle Southern tonight at Mizzou Arena. The Tigers 9-2. They rank second in the SEC. 3-pointers per game, more than 8.36 to be exact. Southern Jaguars 2-8. Tip-off set for 7 o'clock at Mizzou Arena. And former Mizzou Tiger quarterback Drew Lock, pretty impressive yesterday off the bench. 6 of 12, 88 yards, a touchdown. He played in the Denver Bengals game. Cincinnati winning that game 15-10. Our sports is brought to you this hour by Wendy Sprouse Agency. Reach out to Wendy Sprouse, the Medicare nerd, wendysprouseagency.com. Our news time, 7:08. All right, Kevin, thanks. Our days continuing to get shorter. 7:23, our sunrise will set at 4:49. Weather is brought to you this hour by WillettDentalAssociates.com. Dr. Kent Willett Dental Associates. It's 28 degrees.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
And it's 7:09, our traffic check with MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. Visit MidmoHires.com to find a job or to post your job opening today. Just a reminder that we will see some work here in Columbia today, replacing of ADA ramps at intersections along Columbia's Worley Street today. That work should be starting here in less than an hour, and they will be working all day for the next several days at least, and you are being urged to slow down in the work zone. That's Worley between Pershing and North Providence. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes and breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Two-thirds of people say that inflation's caused them financial hardship, but when you look at lower-income households, lower-income people, that number actually jumps to three-quarters of the respondents in this poll.
63% say they're concerned about being able to pay their bills, and it's costing people. Inflation is the top issue voters are either extremely or very concerned about.
Voters are focused on what inflation is doing to their wallets, and they're not happy. In our latest Fox Business survey, 84% of those asked say inflation and higher prices have them extremely or very concerned.
It's the economy, stupid, right? And we all like to think we understand how it works. I'll tell you who has a really good understanding of the economy and how it works. May not always agree with how he thinks it should be, but understands it. Gary Nolan hosts the Gary Nolan Show weekday mornings, 9 o'clock here on 93.9 The Eagle. We're going to try to fix that this morning. Aaron Hedlund, professor at Mizzou, economics professor at Mizzou. He's joining us. Aaron, we want you to explain this to us like we're 2 years old so we can understand it, first of all. And I think we start at the very beginning in layman's terms, very quickly. What is inflation?
Yeah, well, so first of all, thanks for having me on. So inflation is really when prices overall are rising, right? Not prices on just specific items, but kind of when prices on everything are going up. And typically from year to year, inflation is about 1 or 2%.
And it's healthy, right?
Yeah, that's healthy, and people can kind of predict it, and people on fixed incomes can kind of that's not a huge burden on them. So from 2017 to 2019, when we had a historically good economy, inflation was around 1 or 2%. Right now, inflation is about 7%, which is the fastest it's been since 1982. So it's very, very fast inflation. And to really think about it in concrete terms, it's basically been about an $800 tax on the average working family over the past year. And with each month that inflation stays high, that tax amount goes up.
All right. Aaron Hedlund explaining inflation to us and why it is such a big deal, explaining it to us like we are 2 years old. So to give you some context here, since it's growing faster, inflation is up higher than since 1982. Stephanie wasn't born yet. Hannah wasn't born yet. Brian Hauswirth and I, in the year of 1982, were celebrating a St. Louis Cardinals World Series victory over the Milwaukee Brewers, who were in the American League at that time. Aaron Hedlund hanging out with us here on 93.9 The Eagle this morning on Wake Up Columbia.
Yeah, so Aaron, I heard you speak recently. You also mentioned another, we heard that first inflation number that's like 6.9%, but you mentioned the inflation number, I think, on that basically small businesses are affected by. Can you speak more about that?
Yes, absolutely. So the number I mentioned a second ago was consumer price inflation, and that was the 6.8%. And then also there's a producer inflation, so basically what small businesses face. And that came out just recently at 9.6%, almost double digits. It's absolutely insane.
All right. Let me ask you this. It's easy to blame whoever is in charge, and I get it. Some of these things we place blame, and oftentimes they really don't have anything to do with it. But I always say, listen, if you're the person in charge, you're the person in charge. Can we tie directly, can we say, okay, when the administration does this, this is how it's affecting the economy. All this stuff is up higher than it's been since 1982. My paycheck ain't going up, though. This is a real problem. And I just, can we say, here are the policies that's making this happen? Can we point to something in the administration, Aaron?
Yes, unfortunately we can. That's not always easy to do, but in this case, we can actually pinpoint it. So if we go back to 2020, the federal government obviously did a lot of things to prop up the economy while things were shut down and whatnot because of the virus. But even with all those interventions, we still had 2% or lower inflation. That's because in 2020, the policy approach was, yes, we're going to help stabilize family and small business finances, but we're also going to encourage production. We're going to make it easier. We're going to help businesses keep people on the payrolls and encourage the return to work. You then get to 2021, and if you watch the inflation numbers, they really start escalating around March and after March, which is when the Biden administration passed its multi-trillion-dollar quote-unquote stimulus bill. And really what that bill did was two things. Number one is it basically dumped tons and tons of money into the economy, which is it's like adding fuel to the fire, so it's stoking a lot of demand. But at the same time it did that, it kind of throttled back on the capacity of the economy to produce by putting in place all sorts of mandates and work disincentives. So more demand, less supply. The guaranteed result there is prices going up.
All right, our guest, Aaron Hedlund, economics professor at Mizzou, and he is a guest as an economics professor at Mizzou. He's not coming at this like, hey, let's see how we can jab at our president. That's not what we're doing. We just happen to be tying in these things we're seeing. The issues with inflation right now, we can tie those directly to policy moves that happen in Washington, D.C.
Hey, Branden, thank you. Professor, a question about these numbers, and I know Branden, and I've heard a lot of numbers about 1982, because it surged 6.8% in November, the fastest since 82. I want to see if you know or can recall or have heard how this compares to the 70s. Branden and I remember the inflation of the 70s. There were people who actually wore buttons called win buttons, whip inflation now, and it was a big issue back in those days. President Ford declared it public enemy number one at that time. How do these numbers compare to what we saw back in, let's say, the mid to late 1970s?
Yeah, I think there's actually two interesting parallels. So when it comes to the numbers themselves, I think inflation hit double digits in the late 70s and early 80s. So we're not yet there. And in fact, when we go back to 1982, which is the last time we had the current levels, it was on its way down. So inflation had been double digits, but then because of changes in federal policy, both on the kind of the monetary, Federal Reserve side and also on the tax and spend side, they kind of reined it in, and inflation was coming steeply down. So in some ways, that's why it's actually scarier than 1982, because we're at the same level, but we're going up instead of coming back down. But the other interesting parallel is basically the complete aimlessness of policy, because you mentioned the whip inflation now. We're getting all sorts of nonsense arguments as well about, the reason we're getting inflation is because businesses are greedy. I'm thinking, are businesses more greedy this year than they were last year or the year before that? That's a complete nonsense argument. Mm-hmm. Businesses are always out there trying to make good products and a healthy profit. The question is, what has changed to create much higher inflation now compared to what we have been facing? And the answer there is, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, tons of deficit spending and basically disincentives to producing.
All right, Aaron Hedlund, economics professor at Mizzou, joining us this morning on 93.9 The Eagle. Do want to ask about your reaction to Joe Manchin yesterday on Fox before we let you go. But plenty of other things we want to ask you about as Aaron Hedlund's trying to explain inflation to us like we're 2 years old.
Yeah, so, for inflation, I think most people are thinking, it's the virus. We've had a hard year. Maybe we'll get this little blip and it'll go back down. But as you said, we're kind of on the up and up, and now we're seeing kind of sustained months of this horrible inflation. And I don't see us turning around anytime soon. What's the world look like with inflation numbers at this level or higher for a sustained time period?
Yeah. So first of all, I think it's Time Magazine that does the word of the year, or whoever does the word of the year. They should use the word transitory for this year's word of the year. The absolute misstep from the Fed and whatnot to use that word. In fact, they've gotten rid of it. I don't think the Biden administration has fully gotten rid of that word. But it's been sustained. I anticipate that when inflation comes out again in a few weeks, we're going to see another number that's probably right around 7%. The one sign of hope, frankly, is the news we just learned, which is from Joe Manchin saying that he's a no on the Build Back Better bill, because basically what that bill would do is add trillions more in deficit spending and work disincentives. So maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel if that bill indeed does not pass. But yeah, Americans have been in for a world of pain for several months now. Like I said, $800 tax that disproportionately hits people on the lower end of the income spectrum. So yeah, it's a real problem.
So, Aaron, all these politicians, they run on all of these ideas. Pre-K education for everybody. Yeah, great idea. Universal health care for everybody. Yeah, that's a wonderful idea. We'll pay for everybody's. Yeah, all great ideas. But those things cost money, and they are bad ideas. Can you explain, maybe somebody this morning who doesn't quite understand, Build Back Better, they're taking away universal pre-K and they're making it harder for people to get health care and all. The reality of what would have happened or what will happen if, and it looks like it won't happen based on what Manchin said on Fox yesterday, but what would happen, the reality, Professor Hedlund, of what happens if we passed something like this, all these trillions of dollars in social programs. What happens? What does that do to our economy?
Yeah, well, and that's the key question is what would actually happen versus what are the stated intentions. So, for example, when you talk about things like the child care subsidies, there have been studies done on what would happen with this bill, which is they were going to put tons and tons of money, tons of subsidy money into the child care sector, which would, again, drive up demand, that would drive up prices, at the same time that they hyper-regulate it. So they're going to pass all sorts of regulations that would force major pay increases for child care workers, independent of what the market can bear, which would just drive up the costs. And at the same time, they basically made it so that religious child care providers would be ineligible. And about 53%, I think is a study I saw, of people who use child care providers use ones that have some kind of religious affiliation. So this is not something that was actually going to make it more affordable for people. It was basically just going to generate cost increases.
And we still, eventually, we have to pay for it all, man. Could sit here and chat forever with Aaron Hedlund, economics professor at Mizzou, with reaction to what Joe Manchin said yesterday on Fox and then explaining inflation to us like we're 2 years old. I have this idea, Professor, that I'm going to run for office, and my idea is anytime like the utility company says, your bill's going up, but it's only 0.8%, or the cost of gas is going up, this is going up. Anytime something goes up, my bosses have to give me an equal amount of money in my pay. What do you think about that idea?
Well, there's actually a term for that. We call it basically the wage price spiral, and that's one thing that the Fed is definitely watching, which is as prices rising, do workers demand higher wages? And the new companies respond to those higher wages by raising prices. And really the key to break that is we want worker pay to go up. We want to have a productive economy, which means from the policy standpoint, we want to encourage small business formation. We want to encourage investment. We want to encourage production. And that's the way that we can get rising pay without rising prices.
Aaron Hedlund, economics professor at Mizzou. Man, it's always cool hanging out with you. We're very appreciative of your time this morning and hope you have a great day, sir.
You too.
All right. Thank you. Coming up 7:25-ish. What's hot with Hannah? What do you have for us today?
For the first time in What's Hot with Hannah history, we're going to be talking about an obituary. Yeah. Woo!
Wake Up Columbia with Branden Rathert. Mid-Missouri is listening.
My name is Kamala Harris.
My name is Kamala Harris. Sounds like, is it Tyler Perry's Medea? Is that what she sounds like there?
My name is Kamala Harris.
Is she the one that always goes, Lord, Lord?
My name is Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris blew up the political world well before Joe Manchin did over the weekend. Yesterday, Joe Manchin, of course, on Fox, yesterday say, I'm not voting for this Build Back Better plan. But prior to that, Kamala blew up the political world. Something she said in an interview on Friday. We're going to be highlighting that. Coming up at 7:35 here on 93.9 The Eagle. Right now, 7:25-ish, which means it's...
Wow, 7:29.
time for What's Hot with Hannah.
For the first time in What's Hot with Hannah history, we're talking about an obituary.
Dead people, always great comedy, man.
Yeah, so since I'm not going to have time to go fully into this,
we can pick it up again at 7:35.
Oh, can we? Or are you going to be late for that one too?
Probably.
Yeah.
And I got this Kamala audio, but I'd rather talk about dead people.
So this obituary is posted on the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page. Spoiler alert, the first line of it says, a plus-sized Jewish lady redneck died in El Paso on Saturday.
A plus-sized Jewish redneck woman died. I love it, man.
That's the tone for the whole thing.
I love it because even in death, people with a sense of humor, they are leaving us with laughter as they've moved on. I love that. Coming up, Fox News is here. Fallout for the Democratic Party after Manchin's baller move yesterday on Fox boosters and Omicron. Brian Hauswirth is here at 7:35. What we know about the new city manager who is going to be named later today in Columbia. Right now, I have your ABC 17 storm track forecast. Sunshine close to 50 today, close to 50 tomorrow, and then Wednesday 44. Right now, it's 28. 4 out of 10 people scared of the dentist. Willett Dental Associates practices conscious sedation dentistry to relax fears. Make an appointment now. Call 445-5300 or at WillettDentalAssociates.com.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. The drug company Moderna says early tests show a booster shot of its coronavirus vaccine is effective against the new Omicron variant of the virus.
The company this morning said a low-dose booster raised immunity against Omicron nearly 40 times, but those who took a high-dose booster had more than 80 times as much. The company also says they're working on an Omicron-specific formula that they will test early next year.
Fox's Evan Brown. Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says the Senate will consider voting rights legislation early in the new year, along with some version of President Biden's Build Back Better agenda. It needs the support of every Senate Democrat to pass. And West Virginia's Joe Manchin tells Fox News Sunday,
I cannot vote to continue with this piece of legislation. I just can't. I've tried everything humanly possible. I can't get there.
White House spokeswoman Jen Psaki accuses him of going back on his word to negotiate. America's listening to Fox News.
.93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. We're expecting a beautiful day today. Sunshine with a high of around 49 degrees. It's going to be clear tonight with a low near 24. The outlook for tomorrow on your Tuesday of Christmas week, sunny with a high of 49 degrees. A beautiful morning here in mid-Missouri, albeit on the chilly side right now. Clear skies as the sun rose at 7:23 this morning. We're 28 degrees in Columbia, 26 degrees in Jefferson City. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour, and we'll begin with Missouri's governor, who says he will continue to focus on his main themes of infrastructure and workforce development in the 2020-22 legislative session. Governor Mike Parson tells the Eagle that Missouri ranks in the top 10 in both manufacturing and in apprenticeships.
You know, I think we know workforce development. We know infrastructure works now. We're seeing that compared to all the other states in the United States, how well we've done in this state.
Governor also plans to focus on broadband next year. He will meet with state leaders this week in Jefferson City to prepare for the upcoming session. The governor will outline his specific legislative priorities during his January State of the State state address. Today, he will meet with the female state senators in the Missouri Senate on both sides of the aisle, Democrat and Republican. Speaking of the governor, he will be speaking today at a big ceremony that has been talked about for more than 30 years in the capital city. It finally becomes a reality today. Missouri's governor, Jefferson City Mayor Turgeon, other dignitaries will cut the ribbon for the $4.9 million Bicentennial Bridge project at 1:30. That will link the Missouri capital to the riverfront, specifically Adrian's Island. 400,000 people visit the capital each year. Contractors will begin removing and replacing ADA ramps at intersections along Columbia's Worley Street here in about 27 minutes between Pershing and North Providence. That work will start at about 8 o'clock. You're urged to slow down in the work zone. Columbia Public Works spokesman John Ogan tells 93.9 The Eagle the project's total cost is $209,000. That cost includes ADA ramps east of Providence. Columbia's next city manager will be introduced late this afternoon at City Hall. City spokesperson Sidney Olson tells The Eagle that Columbia Mayor Brian Treese and the new city manager will brief reporters in the community at 4 o'clock. We don't know who that is as of yet. We won't know until 4. The public is invited. The current city manager, John Glasscock, will be retiring on January the 14th. And the Columbia City Council meets tonight at 7. A number of key issues on the agenda. Most of those key issues, though, are first readings. Some of the key issues include a local use tax ballot measure for April. That'll be first read tonight. The proposal to build the Tacos for Life on East Green Meadows is going to be first read tonight. Lots of interest in that. And also that proposal about the Bocce Ball, the restaurant, and the music venue, and the pickleball proposal south part of Columbia. That will be first read as well, coming up tonight, 7 o'clock at City Hall. Our news is brought to you this hour by Willett Dental Associates, WillettDentalAssociates.com. Our news time is 7:34. In sports on this Monday morning, 7:34 here on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com. Mizzou women's basketball battling Southern tonight at Mizzou Arena. The Tigers 9-2, second in the SEC three-pointers per game, 8.36. The Jaguars 2-8. Tip-off set for tonight at Mizzou Arena at 7 o'clock. Mizzou men's basketball team, pretty impressive win over Utah. Back and forth Saturday in Columbia. The Mizzou team wins at 83-72. 21 ties, the 11 lead changes in the game. Mizzou and Illinois, the bragging rights game Wednesday in St. Louis. First time I can ever remember that the Mizzou football will have a bowl game playing at the same time as the basketball game, but there will be an overlap there. Ballpark about an hour or so, but those games will be going on at the same time for most of the evening. Basketball game tips off at 8 o'clock on Wednesday night, St. Louis at the Enterprise Center. And Drew Lock, 6 of 12, 88 yards, a touchdown. He came in and played in Sunday's Denver Bengals game. Cincinnati winning the game by a score of 15-10. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 7:35.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
And our traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. Visit MidmoHires.com to find a job or to post your job opening today. You'll see a lot of folks in downtown Jefferson City today at 1:30 around the Capitol Complex. I expect probably in the hundreds of people who will be there. That will be the Bicentennial Bridge ribbon cutting ceremony at 1:30. Be prepared for that. Mayor Turgeon, Governor Parson, numerous dignitaries will be on hand speaking at that event. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. We have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
That would equalize the retail operations of local vendors to the big Amazon-type companies. That comes under the heading of Wayfair, which is a case that came out of the United States Supreme Court that allows local jurisdictions to impose a sales tax on sales from companies that are out of state.
Dan Atwill, Presiding Commissioner, Boone County, talking to our news partners at ABC 17, talking about one of the things that's going to be covered into tonight's City Council meeting. Now, think about this. We have audio from Dan Atwill, who is the Presiding Commissioner in Boone County, who is incidentally on his way out, talking about what's going to be happening tonight at a city council meeting, which will be presided over by a mayor who is on his way out. One of the other things we are talking about today is the replacement of John Glasscock, who is on his way. So we have three people in some pretty hefty leadership positions in Columbia, in Boone County, that are on their way out. John Glasscock, Dan Atwill, and Mayor Brian Treese. But this thing tonight, City Council, one of the things they're going to be talking about, internet sales tax. I don't like this at all. I got to say this. I buy nothing on the internet except for plane tickets. Nothing. I won't.
Yeah, you basically refuse.
I'll have other people do it for me.
Yeah.
But I won't do it. I won't buy anything off. Something about I just don't. I haven't had the need except for plane tickets. But this, if I want to buy stuff from wherever, this would levy a tax on me the way I understand it.
It would, and there's a couple of points, and I do have a detailed story, Brandon, on our website, 939theeagle.com. So two quick, very important things about it. Number one, it's a first reading tonight. Vote will be expected in January. The purpose of it, from staff's perspective, is to protect Columbia businesses from unfair competition with vendors who are outside the city limits, not required to collect local taxes. And one important point, too, it's hard to get into all these details in a 25-second story. The city of Columbia, and this is in the packet tonight, the use tax rate on purchases made outside city limits would be at the same rate as the total local sales tax rate, 2%. So that's provided if the local sales tax rate is reduced or raised by voter approval. A purchase is never subject to both a use tax and a sales tax. So that is something they'll talk about. Bottom line, though, is it would be voted on in April. It's going to be discussed, and obviously it's going to be on the April ballot.
And it's something that the citizens would get to vote. Now, I want to ask the folks who probably spend the most amount of money online, Steph and Hannah, what do you think about this idea?
It's not. I don't have a problem with it, honestly. And I think Missouri was the last state to pass the Wayfair legislation, and it does kind of quote unquote protect your existing businesses. And so, if I'm buying stuff online, I think
you're not going to say, well, now we're levying a sales tax here. I'm not going to buy any more stuff online here in the city limits of Columbia. We're not going to do that.
Yeah, and there's it's use tax interesting, and this is the local use tax. There's already state use tax, and if you actually make huge purchases, personal purchases, I think if you go over $2,000, you're actually supposed to report and pay the use tax. If you make large out-of-state use tax, if you make large out-of-state purchases anyway.
Even Hauswirth is giggling a little bit on that one.
And that's for the state. So this is just bringing local governments, into the same line as the states. Hauswirth, did you have something?
Well, yeah,
He's looking at me.
The amazing thing, and you guys kind of referenced it, about how much people apparently are buying, because the staff report says that if this goes through, if voters approve it, it would produce revenue equivalent to 9% of sales tax revenue. That's staggering.
Well, if you really want a wake-up call, you can download your order history from Amazon right into Excel, and it will tell you how much you spend on Amazon annually. And
or not.
You know what I really love doing, though? I love looking at my history, because it'll also show you the first thing you ever purchased on Amazon, which I find fascinating. Because you used to just buy books, which is funny to think about now.
Do you guys get at the end of the month, Google sends you your map of where you've been?
No, are you kidding? You need to turn that off.
I don't know how to, but I get that every month, and it shows.
Must be a Droid thing.
It is. I'm on the Droid platform.
No, turn that off.
But it's weird because every month it looks the same.
It never goes anywhere.
Because I don't go anywhere. It's a circle. That's what it looks like on my Google Maps timeline. It's to the Zimmer Worldwide headquarters, to the gym on Forum, to the grocery store, to my house, back to the radio station the next day, to the gym, to my...
What animal is that has there's an animal that doesn't migrate and that never leaves their home? I'm sure there's
a hermit?
So tonight, first reading on this, and it would be something ultimately that we'd be able to vote on.
Oh, yeah. It would have to go to the voters, and I expect it will. It'll be voted on by the council in January, and then look for it to be on the April ballot. But it definitely would go to the voters. I doubt it'll get much discussion tonight. It's a first reading, but the big discussion will be in January.
So I was curious, as Stephanie just said, what was the first thing you ever ordered on Amazon? Mine in 2015 was a hair, skin, and nails vitamin.
A what?
What the heck?
A hair, skin, and what?
Hair, skin, and nails vitamin, like a biotin supplement. 15-year-old Hannah.
I know, 15 years old.
Was living life on the edge.
By the way, congratulations, Hannah walked this weekend. We are so proud of you.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Smooth sailing?
The ceremony? Or
yeah,
college?
not the previous 3.5 years of torture that was your education at Mizzou, but Saturday everything went fine, and then they'll mail you your thing. And
yeah, they said, of course, when you go up and they call your name, you get a degree holder. It's like a fancy leather folder, and they said that you don't get your actual degree until you pay all your parking fees. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah, and then you have to frame that degree, and it's like another couple $100, which just feels like, like twisting the knife after they take all of your money anyway. And then
I'm probably just gonna stick it in the folder they gave me and call it good.
You want to frame it in your booth, right?
Last week, I learned for long, your teeth, you're supposed to get them cleaned twice a year. Proctologist, after the age of 40, you're supposed to go once a year.
It's a big jump between proctologist and dentist.
Well, I had it backwards. I thought I was supposed to go to the proctologist twice a year for cancer screenings, and the dentist I'm only going to every 5 years at Willett Dental and Associates for teeth cleaning. Dr. Kent Willett reminded me last week. He said, "Rathert, you got it wrong. You got it backed up." But is what I was thinking about. You talking about whenever you have a certificate hanging on your wall. I said this to a local proctologist, Dr. Pineda, last time before I did my last 5-year checkup. He's got a thing in his office, because I'm sitting in his office. We're talking about the consult, which I don't get. Like, I'm not having plastic surgery. You don't have to take me step by step. I'm getting a colon cancer screening. We don't have to have this meeting, doctor. Oh, yes, we do. And he's got this beautiful South American accent. But he has these things on his wall. Graduated this school, this college, and says he's now licensed to practice this stuff. And I asked him, well, if you've been doing this for a while, shouldn't you? And said, you shouldn't be practicing this stuff. You should be doing it well now. And he didn't get the comedy in that, because he was a practice.
Maybe because it's not funny.
Because it's a practice of medicine, just like a practice of law. Yes.
It's like celibacy. I've been practicing celibacy for a long time. I'm not real good at it, but I've been practicing for a long time. Do I have time to do... So before Joe Manchin, by the way, Joe Manchin blowing up the political world yesterday on Fox News. I'm sure you've heard by now, but what's been interesting, the reaction from everybody else. Basically, he said, in my head, I cannot get there.
And I cannot vote to continue with this piece of legislation. I just can't. I've tried everything humanly possible. I can't get there.
You're done. This is a no.
This is a no.
And I don't know. He didn't sound real... I feel like if you really listen, and it could be just me, I could just be drilling down on nonsense. Remind me of my conspiracy theory regarding gas prices, by the way. But it sounds like he wasn't prepared to say that.
I was ready for him to say, that American Idol guy, Randy Jackson, he's always like, it's a no for me, doc. We need to pull that audio. But he was like, it's a no.
I would have loved to have seen. All right, Kamala Harris.
My name is Kamala Harris.
My name is Kamala Harris. She got involved in a little testy exchange, and that was the story, by the way, prior to Joe Manchin doing what he did yesterday. That was really the big
Wake Up Columbia on 93.9 The Eagle. The world is watching on Facebook Live. Are you?
I mean, we all knew that Senator Manchin couldn't be trusted. The excuses that he just made, I think, are complete bullshit.
Oh, my. We don't use that kind of language around here, Ilhan Omar, on Joe Manchin. Use BS. That's how upset she was. That's pretty much how all the Democrats this morning are just like. But haven't we been talking about Joe Manchin for a long time and his move and what he had planned to do? I thought it was a done deal. Anyhow, if you would like to call Joe Manchin's office or send him some mail, we had folks calling this morning, calling here on this show saying, hey, man, how do we send them cards? Maybe the best way to do it if you want to hit him up directly in West Virginia, Charleston office. Here's the mailing address if you want to send Joe Manchin a thank you card. 900 Pennsylvania Avenue. And, yeah, it's Pennsylvania Avenue in Charleston, West Virginia. Suite 629. Area code 25302-25302. Or if you want, you call the office. 304-342-5855, and you can call and leave your message. Hey, man, just wanted to thank. Now, before Joe blew up the political world yesterday, Kamala Harris making news. I watch a lot of Comedy Central. Knew this interview was coming, but didn't watch it because I don't like this guy. They have this guy on Friday nights. He's relatively new. Charlemagne the God is his name, and it's just a racist show. I've tried watching it a couple of times because I like the comedic take on politics from time to time when I can stay up late enough. But I've tried watching his show a couple of times, and he's flat out he's just a racist. There's no other way to talk about Charlemagne the God, what he does on Comedy Central, except saying that he is racist, but it's okay because he's black, and when you're black, you can be racist. The only racist people on the planet are white people. So anyhow, he asked Kamala Harris, Friday night interview, late night TV. And she takes exception to the question that he's asking.
So who's the real president of this country? Is it Joe Manchin or Joe Biden?
So that's interesting right there. This is Friday night. This is well before Joe Manchin goes on to Fox and tells us that he just can't vote for this Build Back Better thing, which we knew that was coming. But that was interesting because that's happening Friday, that Charlemagne the God is saying, Kamala, kind of like we do on this show, who's the president? Is it you? Is it Joe Manchin? Chief Justice John Roberts? Or maybe the person with a lot of power in Washington, D.C. right now, too, the Senate parliamentarian, maybe?
So who's the real president of this country? Is it Joe Manchin or Joe Biden, Madam Vice President?
Come on, Charlemagne.
Come
on. It's Joe Biden.
I can't tell sometimes.
No. It's Joe Biden. It's Joe Biden. And don't start talking like a Republican.
Oh, there you go again. Who else said that this morning here? Oh, Bernie Sanders. Now you're starting to sound like Republicans. Like it's a bad thing. Like you're a 5-year-old. You're acting like heathen. What do you tell your kids when they're quit acting like heathens? Now they're acting like Republicans.
Thank goodness.
About asking whether or not he's president. It's Joe Biden.
Do you think Joe Manchin is a problem?
It's Joe Biden, and I'm vice president, and my name is Kamala Harris.
That is weird.
And I'm Kamala Harris. I'm the vice president, for those keeping score at home. Now, here's the bonus for you. Here's what you get, because you might get some people at work that are going to talk about that today. Here's the bonus that you get because you're listening to Wake Up Columbia on 93.9 The Eagle. I'm telling you, not everybody can get you this stuff. So behind the scenes, apparently Kamala's handler, while this is going on, her handler is at that question, who's the president? Who's in charge? Is it you? Is it Manchin? Roberts? Senate parliamentarian? You can hear here in this audio that we have that Kamala's handler is trying to yank her off air because that's how bothered they are by that question.
In this country, is it Joe Biden or Joe Manchin?
I'm sorry. I interrupted. I don't think the vice president can hear you. It's Simone. I'm so sorry, Charlemagne. We have to wrap.
She can hear me.
So is what they're doing here is they're acting like, so they're not on air, but he's trying to tell his people, like, hey, they can hear me. They're full of crap. Kamala's trying to bail out on this interview. She's trying to act like she can't hear the interview. Charlemagne the God, to his credit, is saying, she can hear me. They're full of crap.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me, Madam Vice
So
President?
I'm sorry, you got a wrap.
Oh.
So I'm sorry to interrupt.
They're acting like they can't hear me.
I can hear you.
So that's Charlemagne the God. He's talking to one of his producers. They're acting like they can't hear me. And he's calling their
Yep.
BS on it. Using the language of Ilhan Omar. That language.
You better not.
Not acceptable on this show here on Wake Up Columbia. It's a no-no. Fox News coming up here at 8 o'clock. Boosters in Omicron. More fallout from the Democratic Party. The Brian Hauswirth is here. What we know about the new Como city manager who's going to be named later today. He has that at 8:03.
He says they'll keep voting until they get something done. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's from the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer the morning after one of his fellow Democrats said he can't support the Biden social spending plan. Senator Joe Manchin tells Fox News Sunday.
If I can't go home and explain it to the people of West Virginia, I can't vote for it. And I cannot vote to continue with this piece of legislation. I just can't.
He says the nearly $2 trillion bill is too costly and risks adding to inflation. Democrats say Manchin betrayed them. Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley on CNN State of the Union.
He has never negotiated in good faith, and he is obstructing the president's agenda.
COVID cases hit a 3-month high last week.
We are going to see breakthrough infections, Chuck. There's no doubt about that.
But Biden advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci tells NBC's Meet the Press being vaccinated helps the case be milder. And as the Omicron variant spreads,
the information we're getting from our South African colleagues still suggests that when you look at it totally, the hospitalization to case ratio is less than with Delta.
It's closing time today at Kim Potter's trial. Fox's Evan Brown is on the case live.
Yeah, Dave, both prosecutors and defense attorneys will make their final arguments to the jury in the case of former police officer Kim Potter. She's accused of manslaughter for shooting and killing 20-year-old Dante Wright in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, who she believed was fleeing and could possibly injure her partner. Potter claims she meant to fire her taser, not her pistol. She wept and apologized on the witness stand for what she calls a mistake. Prosecutors say she violated her training, Dave.
But unlike Potter, Ghislaine Maxwell did not testify in her own defense, and closing arguments are also today at her trial in New York. Maxwell, a longtime associate of the late Jeffrey Epstein, is charged with sex trafficking and other charges, accused of helping find minor girls for him to abuse. America's listening to Fox News.
Dell Technologies' end-of-year sale is the perfect time to upgrade tech. Save big on the latest computers featuring Windows 11 Pro that easily automate workflows. Don't forget to shop servers, storage, and top-brand electronics with savings up to 45% and all with free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor to help you transform your digital workspaces with comprehensive end-to-end solutions. Find the right tech for your business needs at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
More than 1 in 3 people will face cancer in their lifetime. Unfortunately, fear can stop you from getting your cancer screening, but it won't stop cancer. Early detection can save your life. Don't wait for symptoms to appear to act. Cancer screening is safe, effective, and accessible for everyone, including free or low-cost screening programs. Go to cancerscreeninfo.com right now for free screening resources and recommendations from the American Cancer Society. Don't wait. Early detection can save your life. Go to cancerscreeninfo.com today. cancerscreeninfo.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 8:03. Sunshine today with a high of around 49 degrees. Clear skies tonight with a low near 24. It's 28 right now and sunny here in Columbia. It's 26 degrees in Jefferson City. Good morning, everyone. Here are some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour. Jefferson City Hospital is still investigating this morning to determine what caused Friday's major communication outage.
A spokesman for Capital Region Medical Center in Jefferson City said it was a service availability blackout that caused the problem starting early Friday. They spotted unusual activity noted in their phone system, and the decision was made to take the network down as a precaution. As of last check, patients were told to call the main number to get a hold of Capital Region, 573-632-5000. John Marsh, 93.9 The Eagle.
All right, John, thanks. We'll know who Columbia's next city manager is by the end of today. A 4 o'clock announcement is planned at City Hall downtown. We have a detailed story on this on our website, which is 939theeagle.com. Now, the spokesperson for the city, Sydney Olson, tells the Eagle that Mayor Treese and the new city manager will speak at the briefing. It's open to the public. The current city manager, John Glasscock, will retire in January. A proposal to build a new Tacos for Life restaurant on heavily traveled East Green Meadows is now heading to Columbia City Council. P&Z has approved the restaurant's plan to build a new 4,200 square feet restaurant. That would include a drive-through. The issue will be first read tonight. The developer would pay for all the public infrastructure extension and expansion under the plan. Some residents are worried about current traffic congestion in that area. They are worried about traffic that comes in and out of the Macadoodles. There's also a Baskin Robbins, a Dunkin' Donuts, a Honey Baked Ham, and another restaurant in that area. They're worried about that. P&Z, though, has approved the plan. Tacos for Life has restaurants in 6 states. The lone current location in Missouri is in O'Fallon. Columbia officials say vendors located outside city limits and internet-based vendors have a competitive advantage over Columbia vendors because they don't have to charge the local sales tax. Staff has prepared an ordinance to place a local use tax on the April ballot. It will be first read at tonight's City Council meeting. Motorists on heavily traveled I-70 in Columbia will notice Boone Electric's massive construction project that's happening at Rangeline and I-70. The cooperative is building their new headquarters on the 18-acre property. Boone Electric CEO Todd Coley says the project will be done by the summer or early fall.
I think the community is really going to enjoy the new community room, and I say community rooms because there's going to be 3 conjoined there that can open up into one large one.
Coley spoke Saturday on 93.9 The Eagles CEO Roundtable. You can hear his full comments about the project on our website, which is 939theeagle.com. We also have on the website a drone photo of the project taken above the project. You can see all the buildings in that area, multiple buildings that are being worked on. You can look at that picture, 939theeagle.com. And the mayor of Jefferson City describes the Bicentennial Bridge project in the capital city is a game changer.
Missouri Governor Mike Parson, Jefferson City Mayor Carrie Turgeon, and other dignitaries will cut the ribbon for the $4.9 million Bicentennial Bridge at 1:30 p.m. The project will link the Missouri capital to the riverfront, specifically Adrian's Island. 400,000 people visit the capital each year. Today's event is open to the public. Don Luzader, 93.9 The Eagle.
All right, Don, thank you. 93.9 The Eagle News Time. It's 8:06. Turning our attention now to sports at 8:06 here on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com. There are actually 2 NFL games today, one in the late afternoon. The Raiders are at Cleveland. That game will get underway around 4 o'clock, and Minnesota is at Chicago tonight. That is the regular Monday night game. Drew Lock, 6 of 12, 88 yards. The former Mizzou Tiger quarterback had a touchdown throw as well in the Denver Bengals game. Cincinnati winning the game 15-10. College hoops. Mizzou women's basketball team battling Southern tonight, Mizzou Arena. Tigers 9-2. The Jaguars are 2-8. They're the Southern Jaguars, of course. Tip-off set for 7 p.m. tonight, Mizzou Arena. 6:45 pregame coverage. Brad Trenag will have the call on your home for Mizzou women's basketball. 100.5 KTGR at Mizzou Arena tonight. Chris Mitchell producing our broadcast in studio. And the Mizzou Tiger men's basketball team, 6-5. They beat Utah Saturday in Columbia, 83-72. 11 lead changes in the game. Kobe Brown with 27. Mizzou and Illinois, bragging rights game Wednesday in St. Louis, 8 o'clock at the Enterprise Center. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 8:08. All right, Kevin, thank you and great work today. Our weather is brought to you this hour by Dr. Kent Willett Dental Associates. Make an appointment now, WillettDentalAssociates.com. Our news time, 8:08.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
And our traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. MidmoHires.com to find a job or to post your job opening today. Roads are pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri. There is some work. We've reported this all morning going on. Work going on the sidewalks and ramps, if you will, on Providence, on Worley, I should say, near Providence. So be prepared for that. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. We'll have more team coverage in less than 30 minutes. We have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
So when you have these things coming at you the way they are right now, I've always said this, Brett, if I can't go home and explain it to the people of West Virginia, I can't vote for it. And I cannot vote to continue with this piece of legislation. I just can't. I've tried everything humanly possible. I can't get there.
You're done. This is a no.
This is a no.
It's a no for me, dog.
On this legislation.
You know how much work it took to create that 0.08 seconds of goodness there?
I love Randy Jackson.
You're done. This is a no.
This is a no.
It's a no for me, dog.
On this legislation.
I would love if Joe Manchin had a Randy Jackson did yesterday. Wouldn't that have been awesome? Yeah, Brett, that's a no for me, dog. I just
can't do it.
I can't do it. Randy Jackson. I did not know this about Randy Jackson until about a year ago. Years before he even got onto the American Idol thing. He was a session guitarist and then even toured with the rock group Journey.
What?
Like he was a very vital member of the group. I didn't know that.
Wow, okay.
Randy Jackson. He was a member of the Jackson 5. And then when he left the Jackson, no, that didn't happen. Welcome into the show. Wake Up Columbia. There's Stephanie Bell.
Good morning.
Mr. Brian Hauswirth is here.
Good morning, sir.
There's Hannah, the producer.
What up?
Walk this weekend. Congratulations to
Thank you.
Somebody else who's a Christian Raider. HeartlanderNews.com. Great publication, I think, that you would like. He's joining us now. When did you walk? When did you graduate from Mizzou?
I graduated from Missouri State, and I graduated technically in summer of 2020, but I walked in October. Would have graduated in May of 2020, but the whole COVID graduation
wasn't fun, was it? Yeah. Hannah's finally 3.5 years, not too shabby, on a 2-year program.
Not at all.
Hey, it was 4.
I have to be careful. I learned people actually believe what I say.
Yeah,
so
they do.
Gotta be careful.
Especially when it comes to me.
I got to be careful. Hannah, 3.5 years, 4-year program. Christian Rader, HeartlanderNews.com, joining us. Great story, and this is a school district out of St. Louis, but it's an interesting story. It doesn't matter where it's happening. It's kind of an interesting story. Give us a background on this piece that you've done for Heartlander News.
Yes, so it got brought to my attention that there was a petition started between this 9th grade football team at Park Hill South that to start slavery again, I believe is the exact title of it. Thing was
some kids.
Is it some kids? And it's a distasteful joke.
Stupid.
But it's what 14 and 15-year-olds do, and then they learn it's bad and they don't do it again. But it was very quickly reported and spoke about by the administration that, we're so sorry for this racist incident happening, and just, went along with what you would expect school administrators would do. But it came out that the principal at Park Hill South had actually told the school board immediately after it happened, before doing a thorough investigation, that it was 4 white kids who started it, and that we're so sorry for all of this.
And then the story, and people love that story.
Oh, it was reported that way too.
It was reported in St. Louis media.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, and I believe it's Kansas City, but I could be wrong. But either way, yeah, it was reported with the same narrative that you would expect. Come to find out that the 2 students had started it. One was black, and then one was black mixed with Brazilian. Plaintiff A.
All of a sudden, it's not a comfortable story for us to be talking about.
Yeah.
Doesn't fit the narrative.
Well, the outlets sure didn't think so. They didn't follow up or correct their stories or anything. So
really,
yeah.
Wow.
So, but these 2 students started it, and Plaintiff A was black mixed with Brazilian, but his mother, and his name was on the petition as the creator, but Student X in the story was the person whose picture showed up on the petition. So Plaintiff A's, Student X's mother. No, I'm so sorry. I'm mixed up.
Hey, it's okay. It's the holidays. We're all miserable.
So Plaintiff A's mother puts down on his forms every year for the school that he is white because she feels that it's racist for them to ask in the first place. Okay. So when the administrators got the transcripts or names, they didn't have pictures or anything, I'm guessing, of the students, they look at the transcripts and everybody either says white or white and Asian mixed.
Okay.
So this is when he goes, he's still, even though one is white and Asian, that is mixed. That is not, white race. He goes off and white kids started the slavery petition. He actually changed the name of the petition.
He being the principal in the school
district?
The
principal instructed, and this is according to the vice principal's testimony to the school board.
Wow.
The principal instructed the vice principal to change the name of the slavery petition on the disciplinary notices for the students. He instructed it to change it from Start Slavery Again to White Men Start Slavery Again. And
really? So according to the documents or
the vice principal, testimony to the public school board,
his testimony is saying the principal, not only was he starting to lie about this, but then he was wanting to enhance this because he knew in this school district, which kind of northwest of Kansas City, this will be great. Kansas City media will be all over this. Hey, let's, white people want to be slave owners again. It was 4 white kids. Mm-hmm. And this principal in it, these people in education, that's why we're always, these people in education, they can't always be trusted. And I hate to say it because it's not true about everybody, but we're seeing this very real story, then trying to jazz it up. Oh, my God, I should erase them all over the place. Racism till Sunday in this story.
And so, yeah, going back, once he found out that I'm guessing 4 white students didn't create it, it was 2 one black student, one biracial student. He hasn't made a public address or anything. Right when it happened, he made a separate public address to each grade of the high school saying how sorry he was. And according to people who listened to the speeches, he would say everything except for apologizing that he's white. But he would pretty much say that in a roundabout way. And
so the school principal who was doing all of this, allegedly, according to testimony from the vice principal, he's white and he's sorry about the fact that he's white.
Yeah, apparently, is what he told the.
Here's my new thing. Are you familiar? How old are you, Christian?
24. About to be 25.
So you're familiar with what's the gal I like all of a sudden?
Olivia Rodrigo?
Not that one. The other chick, Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga.
Okay.
Her song "Born This Way."
Mm-hmm.
You and I were born white. God wanted us to be white.
Right.
Now I'm a fan of Lady Gaga because, like she says, we're born this way. We got to love ourselves. I think it applies. Christian Rader, HeartlanderNews.com. Remarkable story on the school district outside of the Kansas City area, Park Hill School District. Couple of kids, they're both black, or one's half black and half Brazilian, whatever they want to call it. And they get to joking on the bus on the way to football practice. Hey, let's start a petition, online petition. Let's start slavery again. Principal finds out and then starts lying. So the two kids who did this are black. The principal starts instructing other people to lie, to say that it wasn't to start, it was a petition to not just restart slavery, but white people wanted to restart slavery. Let's say it was 4 white kids. It just lied. He's aware that all that stuff was wrong. He's aware, obviously, that he was trying to control this entire narrative because we know the press likes this story.
And to my knowledge, he hasn't come back and apologized or corrected his initial thoughts. But, by the way, Student X, who allowed his picture to be used and helped in the bantering that created it and shared it to the teammates, has yet to be punished at all.
Really?
But students who commented on it, white students who commented on it, were slapped with a 180-day suspension.
Man, I love talking about race. It's always so fun and comfortable, right?
Wrong.
It's not. I hate talking about race, but it's real. And by the way, these people not going back and correct, because we see news outlets do it all the time. Not going back and correcting stuff. Nicholas Sandman, of course, the Covington Catholic kid who's already been paid. This kid's got to be a billionaire by now. Another settlement, details, we don't have details, but he got another settlement from another media outlet. Nicholas Sandman announcing on this past Feel Good Friday that he's now reached a settlement with NBC. He got paid like $250,000. No, more. He got $250 million, quarter of a billion dollars because of what the media does. So what do you figure is next in this story out of the Park Hill School District?
Well, I know that they have the plaintiffs and their parents filed a restraining order or a ex parte, something of that nature, to be able to get the students enrolled back in school until this makes its way through the court system.
So besides the whole racial aspect and the principal lying and the principal apologizing because he's criticizing God's work. God made him white and he doesn't like it, so he's apologizing for it. He's lying to make an entire community in top 40 market nationwide. Kansas City market's got to be a top 40 media market, trying to make those people think, oh my God, look at what these white kids were doing. It was all lies. Meanwhile, what about the two students that started this whole thing? These two black students that started with this, in their mind, was a prank.
Right. And so I believe Plaintiff A, he got expelled right out of the gate because his name was attached to it, etc. But remember, the principal didn't know that he was black and Brazilian until after he had already sounded the alarm.
So it could have changed his punishment.
Very easily could have.
And that would be, in the story you're telling, that would be par for the course. We would not be surprised if the media and the sorry white people who are sorry that they were born white, they want the story portrayed a certain way, and they can't stand it when it gets when they lose control of it. Christian Rader, Heartlander News. You got to check the story out. HeartlanderNews.com. It's a great story called Park Hill School District Sued for Discrimination and Violating Students' Constitutional Rights. Check it out, HeartlanderNews.com. Anything else you want to add?
On that topic, not to mention, right when it became public, the football coaches stepped up and said, hey, this is a football issue. We don't believe it needs to ruin these kids' lives, be on their record forever. We can settle this as a football team. They'll run extra sprints or whatever, because I'm assuming that he realizes this is just a sick, distasteful joke made by ninth graders, as happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to know it's wrong, but their lives don't necessarily need to be ruined for it. And so, but they told the coach to sit down, and the administrators will take care of it.
There's another story. This happened about a week ago. Bus driver in the Fulton School District. He was playing Christmas music on his cell phone. Well, you can't be driving a bus with one hand and playing on a cell phone with the other.
Not in Colombia. Isn't that illegal, texting and driving?
Yeah, you're not supposed to text and drive. But this guy, so he gets fired. And he tells our news partners at ABC 17, he's like, oh, but come on, man. It was Christmas music for the kids. And oftentimes I have to hold the bus radio, the radio that he calls in on. So the excuse of me holding a phone while I'm driving, I don't know if I buy into that. Well, the guy's in his 70s. So I guess kind of my point is, do you go, oh, there's some extra consideration there. I'm wondering the same thing about these two kids where the football coaches are saying, hey, these kids, they did a dumb joke. Yeah. And it was bad. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if they were white, if the coach said, oh, a few sprints, that'll fix the racism. I wonder if that same offer would have been made, but now knowing these students who were trying to make this racist joke, knowing that they were black.
Well, I think I come to the defense of the coach here a little bit from my understanding, is because right out of the gate, the 3 students who were white that commented on it, inappropriate comments or whatever on the petition, they got them along with the guy who organized it and put his name on it. They all got initially disciplined, and that's when he stood up. But my guess is that the football coach who spends hours with them every week knows them better than administrators. Yeah.
All right. Christian Raider, Heartlander News. Check it out. Heartlandernews.com. Great story, man. As always, thanks for joining us.
I appreciate it.
Hi, this is the voice of the Tigers, Mike Kelly. This is Wake Up Columbia on Hot Talk 93.9. The Eagle. Branden, Rathert? I don't know any Rathert.
Do you know you can watch the show? You can go to YouTube. Search 93.9 The Eagle live on YouTube, and you'll be able to watch the show. Now, the cool thing with that is that, like, when everybody around the house getting ready in the morning for work and stuff, you pot us up on your smart TV, and that way kind of everybody gets an idea of what's happening locally. You get the news and analysis, opinion, and reaction right here on 93.9 The Eagle. Right now, it's 8:28, time for the Morning Bell. Business news with that little twist that only Stephanie Bell can give you.
We have had trouble with airlines lately. I think we can all agree to that.
Yes.
But here's some trouble that you might not be expecting. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that airlines brace for flight restrictions in a 5G standoff. And so I guess cell phone providers are, moving toward this 5G thing. They have been, the telecom industry and the airlines have been in this huge fight. And the airline industry is saying we need all of these restrictions. We basically need you to kind of like meter down 5G around airports. And, have you ever been that person on the airplane that you're like, oh my God, did I put my phone on airplane mode?
Are we landing in New Orleans now instead of Dallas?
And I wonder, is there a threshold? Like if 4 people have their phone on, is it just like when everyone has their phone on airplane mode, but like if one person does? Because surely someone's forgotten, right? And so I'm like, is this really a thing or not? And now, you've got your iPad, I've got my watch, I've got my AirPods, I got my, so I'm like trying to remember to put all the things on airplane mode, but apparently it's a thing. According to the FAA, they've been saying this could be the perfect storm. It could cause delayed flights. We don't really know. And before 5G, I guess, goes live in January, they want some of these restrictions to go into place. And I'm thinking, we already have enough problems, right?
Gosh. And that's the Morning Bell with Stephanie Bell here on 93.9. I do sometimes think, is the pilot just screwing with us?
Right?
He's like, hey, Joe, watch this. I'm going to tell everybody they got to turn off, but they don't have to turn off. That's what I see in my head. Coming up here at 8:30, Fox News is here. Boosters and Omicron virus is going to apparently, this eventually could get back to a situation where it's going to get in our way with more. It's not the virus that'll get in our way. It's government stuff. Brian Hauswirth is here, too. What we know about the new Como City manager, whose name is going to be revealed later today. Brian has more info on this coming up at 8:31. ABC 17 storm track forecast. Sunshine, close to 50. Today, 24. Tonight, close to 50. Tomorrow. Right now, 29. 4 out of 10 people are scared of the dentist. Willett Dental Associates practices conscious sedation dentistry to relax your fears. Make an appointment at 445-5300 or WillettDentalAssociates.com.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says Democrats will keep working on the president's Build Back Better agenda until something passes. West Virginia Democrat Joe Manchin says he can't support it, in part, he says, because the funding is short-term to artificially keep costs down.
Pick what our priorities are, like most people do in their families or their businesses, and you fund them for 10 years, and you make sure they deliver the services for 10 years.
He was on Fox News Sunday. White House spokeswoman Jen Psaki calls Manchin's announcement an inexplicable reversal. A body is found in a QVC home shopping network facility in North Carolina that burned Saturday.
The sheriff's department identified him as 21-year-old Kevon Ricks. A family member says Ricks left behind a 1-year-old son. QVC says it's providing shutdown pay through the end of the month for the distribution center's 2,000 employees.
Fox's Carmen Roberts. America's listening to Fox News.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 8:31:29 here in Columbia's bright sunshine this morning. Beautiful sunrise, and we're going to see warm conditions today. Sunny, a high of 49. Clear skies tonight with a low near 24. The outlook for Tuesday, sunshine and a high of 49 degrees. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories that we are working on for you. At this hour, officials at Jefferson City's Capital Region Medical Center continue their investigation into Friday's communications outage. Our sister station, News Radio 950 KWOS in Jefferson City, is quoting a Capital Region spokesperson as saying a service availability blackout caused the outage. John Marsh reporting the Capital Region spotted unusual activity in their phone system, so they decided to take the network down as a precaution. If you need to call Capital Region, you need to call their main number for now. That number is 573-632-5000, 632-5000. Again, the network is still down. The investigation continues as to what happened. Here in Columbia, the next city manager will be introduced late this afternoon at City Hall. City spokesperson Sidney Olson tells the Eagle that Columbia Mayor Brian Treese and the new city manager will brief reporters in the community at 4. The public is invited. Columbia residents could also be voting in April on a local use tax ballot measure. The issue will be first read tonight at the council meeting. Use tax supporters say that it's about protecting Columbia businesses from unfair competition with vendors who are located outside city limits that aren't required to collect the local tax. Tonight's meeting will start at 7. Another issue that will come up tonight, we'll learn some details about, is a development that is planned in South Columbia. It is known as the Kitchen. We have a lot more details now with the council packet out. It is a 10-acre property, and it's at Discovery Parkway and Endeavor in the south part of town. The proposal would include a 2-story restaurant, pickleball courts, a music stage, various yard games, bocce ball, and in the winter they would also have an ice rink. Again, that proposal will be first read tonight. You'll have an opportunity to testify about that plan coming up at the January meeting when the council is scheduled to vote. In Columbia-based Boone Electric expects its new headquarters at Rangeline and I-70 to be done in 2022. Boone Electric's general manager Todd Coley tells the Eagle CEO Roundtable that Coyle Construction is managing the project.
This project, a lot of it is the steel is up. There's some steel still to go up. We're looking at a completion date and likely summer, early fall of this next year.
That would be 2022. Boone Electric began in 1936. Boone Electric was Missouri's first rural electric cooperative. It began with 140 members. Today it has 30,000 members. Boone, Audrain, Callaway, Howard, Monroe, and Randolph counties. All of you can see the project and the work going on the interstate. We actually have a drone photo from above. You'd be stunned how big this project is. 18 acres. Take a look at that picture. 939theeagle.com. You can hear the interview with Fred Perry as well. Our news time and our news is brought to you this hour by Hemi Construction. Homes and lots in the southwest neighborhoods of Chapel Hill Meadows, Nursery Heights, and Creek's Edge. Our news time, 8:34. Turning our attention now to sports, we'll start with Mizzou women's basketball. They'll take on Southern tonight. That game will start at 7 o'clock at Mizzou Arena. 6:45 pregame. You'll hear it on KTGR 100.5. Brad Trinago on the call. 6:45 again on the pregame. Mizzou men's basketball team beating Utah Saturday here in Columbia, 83-72. Mizzou and Illinois, the bragging rights game Wednesday in St. Louis. Now that game will tip at 8 o'clock or thereabouts, probably closer to 8:05 or 8:10. Big Ten Network for basketball. Now, as far as the football game, many of you have been asking what channels things are on. We'll get all those details as we get a little bit closer, but the football game will definitely overlap. 7 o'clock kickoff again, probably closer to 7:10, and that game will be on national television on ESPN as Mizzou plays in the Armed Forces Bowl, presented to you by Lockheed Martin, and they will take on Army. That game will take place at Amon Carter Stadium in Fort Worth, Texas, on the campus of TCU. Our sports is brought to you this hour by Witt Print Shop, where your printed products are so much more than ink and paper. Our news time is 8:36.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
And our traffic check, midmohires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. Visit midmohires.com to find a job or to post your job opening today. Roads have been pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri. We have a number of folks, obviously a lot of students are gone right now, and not as much traffic on the roads. You'll notice that this week, certainly next week as well. More back to normalcy, in the words of Warren Harding, coming up in January. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us, 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. We have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
and you have two Democrats who, in my view, are kind of acting like Republicans.
Bernie, and you have, in my view, two Democrats who are acting like Republicans, like he's name calling or something. Like quit acting like heathens. I'll tell you, or else I'll put the matzo balls away, and we'll call it a night. That's how bad you have people like Bernie Sanders. Well, they're acting like Republicans. Did you hear what Ilhan Omar said after Manchin pulled that pin on that grenade on Fox yesterday?
It was kind of nasty.
Woo, Ilhan Omar.
I mean, we all knew that Senator Manchin couldn't be trusted. The excuses that he just made.
If you're saying we knew, we've known for a while that he couldn't be trusted. You knew that during all the negotiations, and you're just now acting surprised, right? Because you knew that, right?
And he couldn't be trusted. He's been telling you this whole time exactly what he was going to do.
So
and so she's saying he can't be trusted to be a team player, and she's mad. But at the same time, it's kind of a personal attack. It doesn't have anything to do with the issue. She could have said, "We knew he's not a true," because that's what she meant. He's not a true Democrat. He's a squish, right? He's too conservative for us. But instead, he said he can't be trusted.
Well, he said, I think here's what threw her off is that she expected him as a Democrat to just lie. But he's being honest, and she's not used to honesty in her party, and I'm not.
That's fair.
I'm not making that up. I really think she's just not used to honesty in her party.
I think are a complete
Yeah.
And then to hear her use language, that's, I thought, something she doesn't do.
You mad, bro?
Welcome into the show. It's Wake Up Columbia. By the way, Senator Joe Manchin said some other stuff yesterday in this interview that I thought was worthy of talking about this morning. We'll get into. He said some other things that kind of. He identifies as a Democrat. That's what he identifies as. This guy's not a Democrat. He's got the DB. He just identifies as one. But everything he's doing is more along the lines of being a conservative. It's Wake Up Columbia. So Stephanie Bell is here.
Good morning.
Brian Hauswirth
Good morning.
is there. Hannah, the producer.
What up?
Fresh off walking across the stage at Mizzou this weekend. She's joining us on the show. Something we can do for you, please let us know. 874-9390, 874-9390. TJ says Manchin is theater. I would say the movie house is sold out right now then if he is the theater, because he's got almost as much power as the parliamentarian in the Senate right now.
Yeah, Elizabeth McDonough, she was saying, hey, you guys can't shove your immigration policies in this bill. It's got to be separate. And they've tried, I think, she's now had to tell them 3 times.
No, you can't do this. It's just against the rules. But again, they're Democrats like rules, schmools.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, and I'll leave it up to the listeners to decide whether or not who's right and everything. But if you look at historically, the national media seems to forget that every president in my lifetime, regardless of whether they control the White House or not, or Congress, in either chamber, they lose a lot of their. They don't get everything they want. I mean, look at Jimmy Carter. He had lopsided. I think he had 63 Senate seats, and there were a lot of things that he did not get that he wanted. President Biden's numbers are much more close. I mean, you're talking about maybe a 10-seat majority in the House. Senate's very close. So all it takes is 1 or 2 votes either way. But he's had some successes too. He got the infrastructure bill that he wanted done. But from a historical perspective, presidents don't get what they want, and they all have losses at one time or another.
And I don't want to trigger our state government friends, but we have a Republican governor and a heavily Republican legislature, and we had a complete and total breakdown. And there were several things that passed in the last session that a lot of conservatives were pretty bad about.
And there were a lot of things that Governor Parson proposed and the previous governor, Eric Greitens, before them that did not get approved that they wanted, with lopsided majority, veto proof in both majorities in both chambers. So yeah, it is interesting to look at it from that perspective.
By the way, we were talking last week about some polling numbers. We look at the Missouri Senate race. It showed Eric Greitens was leading in one poll. To be honest, it kind of a suspect poll, but that's what we have at this point. There was a story over the weekend. Apparently, a lot of Republicans Well, here's the headline in the Missourian. In Missouri, Greitens' comeback bid has some in GOP on edge. He's got a lot of people on edge, really, whether it's GOP or Dems. Because if he gets enough, if enough other people obviously are able to siphon off enough support, he could win with percentages in the teens, maybe in the primary. And then right now, all polling is pretty consistent in that anything in a general, Eric Greitens would win.
Yeah, and from being a conservative myself, I think I've got concerns, if he were to actually get elected. I think we've talked about, our mid-mo folks, they do such a good job in Missouri of working for us, and they have to work together, right, to really get stuff accomplished. And we know him and Holly have had some words in the past, and they don't get along. And you think if he's, in the Senate, A, he's going to have to try to work with Holly, and B, he's, now a leader in Missouri Republican politics again, and he doesn't really get along with a lot of those people. A lot of those people are on record as, opposing him, and he's a bomb thrower. And you're thinking, if I want to get good stuff done for Missouri, I need a team of people who are working together, not who are infighting, right? And so that part worries me just for the good of our state.
Politico. Now, so besides the Joe Manchin stuff yesterday on Fox, where he said, "Yeah, I'm just a solid no on this." Besides Republicans nationwide, I'm thinking Brett Baer at Fox got to be pretty pleased because obviously he's getting all this buzz.
He's all over the news.
But before, and I want to play one more piece of audio from Joe Manchin because I thought this was also this has fallen by the wayside, and rightly so. There's a bigger story. But this whole thing with Joe Manchin, we joke about how much power he holds in D.C. One of the other things he was talking about yesterday, mandates, and his take on mandates is not in line with that of his party.
I did not agree on the private sector of 100-plus members, employees of a business or more. I thought businesses really should make those decisions. They have done and they want to do and keep their employees healthy. They should be able to make the decision.
So he was against that mandate, too. He's like, so a lot of that stuff, like he's just identifying. He really is a Republican, it sounds like. He's just, he identifies as a Democrat. So you had that stuff going yesterday with Joe Manchin, Brett Baer, Fox, and that big news story there. Prior to all this happening, there were some other pretty significant things. Kamala Harris and what she said in an interview Friday night, have that coming up for you about 8:50. And we also have the audio because there's two different points of view on the same thing happening here. And what's happening is what you'll hear when we get to this is Charlemagne the God is asking Vice President Kamala Harris who runs the country. And that is a fair question. We know that's a fair question here on Wake Up Columbia. So Kamala's reaction to this guy, Charlemagne the God, and Kamala's got to think she's in friendly territory. It's a host who, by the way, is incredibly racist. He's on Comedy Central Friday nights, and it's news from a black person's point of view. It's racist, most of it. So she's got to be thinking she's in friendly territory. The question she was asked threw her off. And so is what we'll hear is that exchange between Charlemagne the God and Kamala Harris when this question she was asked, she was PO'd. And then we have another point of view. What's happening behind the scenes when all of that is taking place? We'll have that coming up. We'll do that for you about 8:50 here on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com, where you can listen live. You can also watch the show. Go to YouTube. Search 93.9 The Eagle Live. And you can watch the show on our YouTube channel. So like everybody running around in the house. Pot up, Wake Up Columbia, 93.9 The Eagle, getting all the latest news.
Hi, this is Henry, and I'm Brandon's dad. My favorite show on 93.9 The Eagle is The Gary Nolan Show.
That would equalize the retail operations of local vendors to the big Amazon-type companies. That comes under the heading of Wayfair, which is a case that came out of the United States Supreme Court that allows local jurisdictions to impose a sales tax on sales from companies that are out of state.
Boone County Presiding Commissioner Dan Atwill talking to our news partners at ABC 17. Sales tax stuff you buy online, they're going to be talking about it at City Council tonight. Now, it's not something they're going to be passing or anything, but ultimately it would be something that we, the voters, would be voting on coming up in April. Welcome. It's Wake Up Columbia. Stephanie Bell, Brian Hauswirth, Hannah, the producer. My name is Branden Rathert. Again, kudos to Hannah, the producer. She graduated this weekend. Smooth sailing. Everything went off without a hitch, and you're good to go. It's official.
Yeah, so graduation went great. The 3.5 years leading up to graduation.
That's so much.
We got there, though. That's all that matters.
So one of the things that happened this weekend, Hannah's graduating, and Stephanie Bell has family in town, and I'm going to like this 30-year reunion in St. Louis. Kamala, Friday night, she's on a show on Comedy Central. Charlemagne the God, he's a guy. He does this Friday night, I guess kind of like a talk show. I've tried to watch him a couple times. It's racist stuff, so I don't pay attention, which is too bad because sometimes the guy can actually be kind of entertaining, and he's smart at times, but he's racist. Anyhow, Kamala is on the show Friday night on Comedy Central. And Charlemagne asked, and this is one incident, but two different points of view that we get to check out here. First point of view, this is what was going on air. He's asking Kamala the question, who's in charge in D.C.? And that's, I think, a very fair question.
So who's the real president of this country? Is it Joe Manchin or Joe Biden, Madam Vice President?
Come on, Charlemagne.
Come
on. It's Joe Biden.
I can't tell sometimes.
No. It's Joe Biden. It's Joe Biden. And don't start talking like a Republican.
Oh, there you go. You said the R word again. Like Bernie. They're acting like Republicans, you know.
About asking whether or not he's president. It's Joe Biden.
Do you think Joe Manchin is a problem?
It's Joe Biden, and I'm vice president, and my name is Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Me, Kamala. You, Charlemagne. Dang.
I wonder, too, this whole battle of the Joes, and we've got this battle of the Erics. Remember, McCloskey calls Eric Schmidt Big Eric? I wonder if we can start calling Joe Manchin Big Joe, and then Big Joe and Sleepy Joe.
Big Joe and Sloppy Joe.
Because did you hear that Little Joe? So these are things going on throughout the weekend prior to the grenade that Joe Manchin dropped yesterday. Joe Biden is somewhere and he's talking about the whole thing with these mandates. And Joe's trying to make fun of people like me that don't believe in mandates.
Well, you hear a lot from my home state as well as yours and other states saying, well, I have my freedom. I have the right to not get vaccinated.
Joe trying to make fun of us. My freedom.
I have my freedom.
I have my freedom.
How do you spell that? Is that M-U-H, muff freedom?
That's what I labeled it as. I got my freedom. I got my freedom. Because everybody who believes in freedom, we all talk like that, don't we, Steph?
Exactly. My daughter came home one time and was saying, my friends. Where'd you get that, my friends? And I was like, nope, absolutely not. My friends.
My friends, my freedom.
I have my freedom.
Yeah, Joe. Joe's cool. Little Joe or Sleepy Joe, whichever one we're calling.
Or Sloppy Joe.
Sloppy Joe. Okay, so back to the thing that Kamala did Friday. So here's another point of view on some of that audio we just played. Charlemagne the God asked her a question, hey, who's in charge? And she obviously got upset. And that was the whole point where she said, you, Charlemagne, me, Kamala, me, vice president. So while that's going on, what you don't see on air, and we have this is like behind the scenes, kind of the same audio we just heard, but it's from producers on the floor with Charlemagne the God. And they're trying to end this interview.
In this country, is it Joe Biden or Joe Manchin?
I'm sorry, I interrupted.
So this voice you kind of hear in the distance, this is one of Kamala's handlers saying, hey, we got to wrap this up because they don't like the question of Charlemagne asking her, who's in charge? Joe Manchin? Joe Biden?
I think the vice president can hear you. It's Simone. I'm so sorry, Charlamagne. We have to wrap.
She can hear me.
You can hear me? Can you hear me now?
So is what's happening, and you hear Charlamagne, the guy with the male voice, he's laughing, going, she can hear me. Is what he's telling you is they're lying to me. They don't want to answer the question. The handler's now trying to end the interview because they took exception to the question, who's in charge?
And he's
Joe
saying,
or
don't
Kamala?
play these games with me. I got your number.
Yeah. He's saying, you're full of crap. You're not going to lie to my audience.
Can you hear me, Madam Vice
So
President?
I'm sorry. You got a wrap?
Oh.
So I'm sorry to interrupt.
They're acting like they can't hear me. Yo.
So that's him talking to one of his producers on the floor. He's like, they're acting like they can't hear me. They can hear me. They heard the question.
I can hear you.
Oh, so who's the
I
real?
can hear you.
So who's the real president of this country? Is it Joe Manchin or Joe Biden?
And then, of course, we get into the whole part where she says, "Don't be talking like a Republican now. That's Republican speak when you're asking who's in charge." No, it's a very, very fair, reasonable question when you have a Senate parliamentarian, as we saw happen last week and a couple of other times prior, a Senate parliamentarian putting the kibosh on Democrats' plans. When you have a Democrat in Joe Manchin putting the kibosh on Democrat plans, and then these people asking these questions, these are fair, reasonable questions. Nothing wrong with asking the question. Gary Nolan Show's coming up next here on 93.9 The Eagle. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Bye.